And my mic's live. On that note, I'm going to stop the music. Yo guys, thank you for being here. Welcome to State of Crypto, your stuff for old crypto news and technicals. Today we have an interview with our awesome guest, Decentralizd from DeVault. How's it going, man? How you feeling, man? Good morning.
Pretty good. I'm tired, to be honest. It's pretty early. Nah, it's not early, but I'm not a morning person, so it's pretty early for me.
Yeah.
But I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great, man. It was a good morning so far. Finished setting up some kinks. The first interview, so I have to work out a lot of things I didn't think they're going to be that bad.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, if you're experiencing some kind of buffering issues. Apparently, YouTube decided to send me a warning right now that the video is running super slow. So I was trying to fix that up before we started. I was chatting with Dee and trying to see what we were going to do. But, finally we managed to get it to go through. So, yeah, you guys should be getting it. If not, at least I am recording a version of this. So if the live version comes out completely botched, I'm going to just upload the recorded version, which should be fine. And it's going to have all the pre-chat, I guess, coming through. I'm not sure. But anyways, yo, D, how's it going, man? How's your day so far? How's the week been for Decentralizd and for DVT in general?
Well, obviously, DVT's doing all right. We're kind of always staying in that low market cap area, so it's not too much to worry about in terms of like what's going to happen next. But yeah, it's doing good. I mean, Spock's working hard on DLS, and we're just trying to keep busy. We've been talking a lot about wrap DVT, which could come on multiple blockchains, things like that, which would essentially be like a similar version of the wrap Bitcoin, but without maybe instead of cold rewards, for example, we do something a little interesting on Ethereum or whatever blockchain that we put the wrap DeVault on.
Right.
That's basically been the main discussion in the chat rooms this week.
Yeah. So when do you think that might get kicked in? Because right now I think you're busy with BLS signature still, right?
Yeah.
So
so I think the idea is Spock's working as hard as he can on BLS, and every time he needs help, he kind of asks for it from like Proteus. But he's kind of spearheading that whole thing. He's kind of coming from his mind, so we're just kind of letting him vibe out on that code, and then when he needs us, he lets us know. And he's sort of QA testing, and he's sort of just like making sure things aren't completely wrong or whatever whatever his goal is with the code base. Yeah. And then wrap DVT is just something that we've mostly just talked about recently, especially since the DeFi craze is getting kind of out of hand.
Yeah.
It just seems logical to have a sort of connection to that liquidity available on those decentralized exchanges, like such as Uniswap and others. So that's kind of where the mindset's coming from, is we see everybody kind of obsessing over the space, the DeFi space, which is DeFi is just another buzzword for crypto at the end of the day, right? So we're just trying to see what we can do to innovate all the time and stay on top of things. And I think then one of the next things, especially since BLS is taking a good chunk of work, it'll take a little bit of time to get finalized and whatnot. In the interim, just having something to create more liquidity to give us that bridge over to the other platforms, I think it's huge.
Correct. Yeah, the when you say DeFi right now, and it's like the the in word, it reminds me when 4K TVs were coming out, and everything got to be 4K, right? You even got to see like pens that said 4K pen. It's like, really, what makes this pen 4K, right? Or full HD? Everything was HD for a while, right? So, or 3D when 3D glasses came out, right? For like screens, everything like goes the inward, and all marketers want to use it. Right now, it seems like every project wants to be, even though it might not be DeFi in general, they all want to call themselves DeFi, right? Because they know they're gonna get people to look at them. Steve, how's it going, man? Thank you for being in here in the chat. Andrew, I saw you earlier, man. Sorry if I didn't say hi. Thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys can hear as well. I'm not sure. Can someone just give me a check whether or not you were hearing Decentralizd well enough, and whether or not you're hearing me well enough? That'll be great. Meanwhile, dude, D, when did you get into crypto, bro?
Try not to sneeze. Sorry.
It's all good.
It's hard to remember what month, but it was mid 2011. It was like right after my birthday, somewhere in there. I've been watching the space for a while. I had a friend who was like early web designer coach of mine, a buddy's brother. And then he kind of just casually talked to me about Bitcoin one day, and I was like, he was driving me to work because we worked together. And I was interested. I was like, that sounds interesting, and it just kind of stuck with me for a little while. I didn't pay too much attention to the space, obviously, right? Like most people, you hear it, you move on with your life. You're like, oh, cool, technology. I guess I'll wait till it's usable. And then, a couple months later, next thing you know, I'm sucked in, and that's all I remember after that.
So you're a super early adopter, let's say, right? So you got to see
something like that.
You got to see the Bitcoin price probably below $100, right? Or maybe around $100.
Yes, way under $100. I want to say my first little tiny buy in college was like $30 or something like that. Like I saw Bitcoin at like 10. I think the lowest price I remember like actually thinking about buying it was like $13 or $15, and I didn't believe in this stuff at the point. You know, it took me, I want to say, 6 months of like trying to find the holes in the cryptocurrency space until I was like, okay, hold on, something's not right here. I'm missing out on something. You know, like I've done too much research. I've spent too many hours figuring this stuff out for me to still be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like I haven't found the hole. I haven't found the catch, the rug pull, none of that stuff.
Right.
So, you know, for me, that's kind of what sent me over the edge. And honestly, I tell people this all the time, but I had a Bank of America account for the longest time as a teenager, right? My mom had set it up for me when I was young. And like immediately when I turned 18 and it was my account, like I went into the bank and I had like gotten overdrafted for like, I want to say like maybe $3, $4, because I had like maybe 40 cents in my account or something. No, I had $4 in my account. I had bought something at the gas station like most teenagers do, right? And I got I had 30 cents left over, and then something overdrafted me like $3, and that catapulted itself to a $400 bill within like a month or so, because I was, you know, I wasn't checking my bank and I was a teenager. And then when I went to talk to the bank, they basically just told me, you know, go fuck yourself. And sorry for the language, but that's essentially the way I felt. So that's kind of what got me to accept the fact that cryptos are the future, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, the thing with cryptos, you cannot overdraft, right? You can only use what's on your account. Now, what the banks do, because I also had I didn't even have a Bank of America. I had a Chase account, and I overdrafted, but I called them up, and I was able to negotiate it to where they dropped it because it was the first time. And I told them, dude, man, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know I didn't have enough money. You know, next time I'll be more careful. I'm going to check it out. But what they do is, like, you don't have a credit line. So what the bank does is it allows the payment to go through, but they charge you, like, for credit, right, for doing that, for spending more than what you have. It's like a penalty, right? But, I was able to talk them out of it. But, yeah, I've been there.
How long ago was that, though? Because mine was when I was, like, 17, 16, and they were a lot less lenient back then.
What year was
that? I want to say, like, 13 years ago.
Right, so like 2007 or so. Yeah, dude, for me it was probably around that area as well, because I was at the university by that time.
That's good. You had a good bank, man.
Yeah,
Bank of America.
Well,
I hate you.
I had a good account manager though, right? Because he's the one that helped me out to like sort it out. Because the account manager, she was my parents' account manager as well at Chase, and I called her up and I said, "Look, man, I screwed up. I didn't know," and she like helped me sort it out, right? So they were pretty cool with that. I think all the managers that I've gotten at the bank were really, really cool. So, you know, I never had any problems with Chase in that aspect. And after that, I just became super cautious. I did hear about crypto probably 2010, right? Bitcoin 2011 or so. I didn't get into it like buying actually until 2017. But I was doing like some faucets and some other stuff, right? Because as like you, I was a little bit cautious. By that time that I really wanted to get into, I was getting married. I had a.
But what did you do for a living back then? I think that plays a big part in it, because I was like a web worker.
Yeah,
like I sold stuff on the internet, so it made sense for me really quickly.
Well, I used to be working by 2011. I was working for Glencore, one of the largest trading. Well, by that time it was the largest trading company in the world for commodities, right? So I was in the metals division. And you know, I think when I heard the most about Bitcoin was like, when was Silk Road? 2012, 2013, right?
Yeah.
Like the Silk Road scandal.
That was, yep.
Right, that's when like it like exploded a little bit more, I guess. So yeah, I think that's when I started to hear about Bitcoin and started to get interested in it. But I didn't pull the trigger until later on. And by the time I pulled the trigger, I had a family, so it was a little bit more of like for you, if you screwed up, you don't have a family, you don't have a wife, you don't have kids, right?
That was the mindset too. I'm young. I need it because it's like in investment, like, you know this, and a lot of people don't know this, but like the younger you are, the less risk you take, the less likely you are going to make it in terms of like investment success, right?
And so the whole point, when you're young, and sorry for interrupting you, but when you're young, if you screw up, you still have many years to recover. When you're older and you have a family and you have other responsibilities, you screw up, you're not just screwing up for yourself, you're screwing up the person that's with you as well, right? So exactly. I agree with you. The younger you are, the more you should invest, the more you should risk it, because you have more time to recover.
Like I feel like if I found crypto today, like maybe I wouldn't care, you know? Like if I looked at DeFi and I looked at Ethereum and I looked at all this stuff that's like way overhyped for the purpose of the technology currently, maybe 10 years from now that stuff will be super useful. But right now, a lot of it's super pure hype, you know? And like I'm fine with it. Like chaos is chaos. You can't really control that system, right? It's gonna do what it's gonna do. But if I found crypto today and I did all my research today, I would have too much information to go off of, and I would be drowning out the important stuff about crypto with profits and Lambos and this kind of stuff. At least back, it was more pure back then. And when everyone taught you about Bitcoin and cryptos, they taught you about the legitimacy of them and why the technologies are useful. Not like, crypto finally selfie NFTs or whatever we're getting to these days.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's a use, but don't get me wrong, it's not groundbreaking Bitcoin type. Advancement.
Well, NFTs, I could see the value that they bring for some collectible items, right? Let's say like digital arts, like there's some real nice digital arts that the author, if you post it online, anyone can just grab it and take a screen cap and reprint it, right? Especially if you put like a high quality image. But if you have like that token and you just have access to that, and you can lend it to like a virtual gallery where you can like go and look at it online, but it has all this protection where you cannot like take a picture, copyright it. You're not going to get it in high quality. You're only going to be able to see it when it's being there at the gallery, right?
Do you follow like Larry Cermak or Kurt? I think it's Cermak, but he works for the Block basically. He's like a researcher, but he made a good tweet the other day. Basically said, NFTs are completely overhyped right now just because the infrastructure is not built for them. Yeah. There's no safe way to own an NFT without someone screen capping that thing and basically owning it for free. There's no way for you to kind of like sell them for a fair price because the market's basically a order book. You know what I mean? Like it's like not a real price. It's like selling a one-off Pokemon card. Like you don't know what that's going to go for.
Yeah.
Well, that's go for $2.
But that's the thing with art right now, also, right? Imagine going and buying from an unknown artist right now, right? You can probably get it for like $300, $400, right? A good piece of art, maybe a good size frame or whatever, picture or whatever. But if that guy becomes famous, then what you have, it's gonna be worth more, right? But if you come and ask me to sell it to you, I'm gonna be determining what price I want to sell it to, because that just depends on how I'm feeling that day, how much I really want to get to return on my investment. But that's the reality with NFTs, right? So if you ask me to sell you something, it is you and I get together and we determine what price is going to be, right? It's an open
like
negotiation.
Pokemon cards.
Right? Yes, it's like
there's not a market for it really. It's just
right.
It just is what it is.
Or even like but like Pokemon cards. That there's a master print. It's just like with sports cars, right? There's so many printed out. With art, you either have the original piece or you have like a copy of the original piece, which is not serialized, or you have a lithography or or whatever all these like other terminations are for like just copies of that original art piece, right? But like,
I get, I totally get all that. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like what content is being used to become NFTs, it just doesn't seem like that's the goal. Like selfies and that kind of stuff. The goal was like digital quality, like serious art or games or stuff like that. Stuff that like has a purpose, not just for a tweet.
Yeah, like Indian items.
I think that's what. Right, like they're supposed to be tying. Or how about this? Like a Picasso. Like if a new Picasso popped up and he's an artist of the 21st century, he's smart if he puts, if he tokenizes each of his paintings.
Yeah.
Because then, he can digitally sell that on an open source auction house essentially.
Yeah.
And then the proof of that auction being legitimate is the fact that that key is tied into the painting, and the private key or whatever else is proof that that person owns the original.
Yeah.
I get that, but I mean, like, in terms of like if I make a gift today or something, it's not moving. If it's moving, it's a little bit more legit still. But if it's just an image, a JPEG, a PNG, any of that stuff, anybody can just take it for free.
Yeah.
So is it really an NFT at that point?
Yeah, but like the quality that they get it at. It's like you going and snapping a picture at the museum, right? I mean, no one can stop you from doing it. I mean, they might say you cannot do it, but if you sneak out your cell phone, snap a picture, you're gonna have that. You're not gonna have the original. You're not gonna have the same quality, but you're still gonna be able to look at it, right? I do get the point that you're making. Anyways, D, how many projects have you worked on? I mean, you said you've been in this space since 2011, maybe not actively on projects, but like since you got like before DVT and before your previous project, what projects were you working on? Because you seem to have been on this space, I would say, longer than a lot of people that are like tweeting and talking about and hyping up whatever they find on Twitter right now.
What does it count? Like, what counts? Because I submitted a Litecoin web design to them back in like 2000, early 2000, like right when they launched. I don't know, 2012 or something like that, right? Is that when they launched? I forget. It's been a long time. Right when Litecoin launched, I did a design for Litecoin, and I was like, "Oh, your guys' website sucks. Here you go." And that doesn't necessarily count, but in the decentralized nature, I personally would count it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, let's say personal involvement, right? Like you actually spend time with the project. Like in DVT, you're extremely involved, right? At least you play, let's say, a role in determining certain things or how things were going to go in a project, or actively worked on a marketing DAO or whatever it is, right? But something like that.
If we're going with that standard,
Yeah.
I would say it's just DeVault at the end of the day.
Right.
I can include, like, if we want to extend that definition a little, Smart Cache,
Right. Yeah.
PivX, Dash, a couple things like that that I've helped in the past. But like at the end of the day, I was mostly just there for design and branding and visionary type goals, and
Yeah.
I wasn't really there to make any sort of decisions. And I'm still not here to make decisions in DeVault necessarily, but I am here to, put my opinion out there, and then we can discuss as a team. The reason I didn't keep helping those projects in the past, if they would have been projects that kind of do what DeVault does in terms of giving everybody a voice and all that, giving actually, value to the coins you hold, other than a for lack of a better term, a semi-transparent Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what a lot of cryptos are becoming. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I was searching for in crypto. When I first found Bitcoin, the thing that clicked in my mind was this exact thing, and I'll tell you exactly what the sentence that goes through my mind all the time is: I can sell a website to anybody anywhere in the world, and nobody can stop me from getting paid.
Yeah.
And what if I lived in like sub-Saharan Africa and I just had a phone, and I was knitting some cool things that people want to buy on the internet, but I don't have a bank account, or I
Yeah.
don't have, like, that mindset is what clicked crypto, what clicked Bitcoin for me. That access to the financial industry, all of that just makes complete sense to me. So when I quit projects like PivX or Smart Cash or stopped helping Dash, it was always because they weren't going to get there. They were
Right.
I could just see it. I'd invested too much time. I spent a year helping Dash just to throw it all in the trash, right?
Yeah.
I rhymes, by the way. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's kind of how it goes in crypto. You spend a lot of time figuring stuff out, and then once you get to a point
Right.
where you're like, I don't know about this, then it makes you take a step back, and then you have to readjust some things here and there. And crypto moves so fast. Every 2 to 3 years, the whole space looks a lot different, right? So if
Yeah.
you're stuck in a project for 3 years and you're just hunkered down, you don't care, like, you're gonna fall behind the industry at the
Yeah.
end of the
Yeah.
day, right? So
Because who could have
I think
seen?
that's why we started DeVault,
Yeah.
just because all those things taught us, we need to build something that's gonna live on, and that's gonna morph, and it's gonna adjust itself to fit the narratives or the whatever's popular in crypto. It's gonna add those features. That is what the point of, I think, an autonomous community is, a decentralized community, if you want to use the buzzword.
Right.
But essentially, that's kind of like, why all those projects, like, they taught me so much. But even though most of them are still alive, or all of them are still alive right now, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling someone this is the next cool thing, because I found the flaws in them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure DeVault has flaws, and I wish people would come tell us the flaws so we can fix them. That's kind of the goal with all of this, is just innovate and continue to stay alive and continue to build value as a community. And then hopefully, let's say conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
USD collapses or something, we're safe. We don't have to worry about everybody else in the industry who was exposed to these fake values or this,
Right.
fake wealth being created. That's kind of like some of the things that cross my mind when I'm thinking,
Well.
like,
Yeah.
why DeVault?
Yeah. I agree, and it's a good project. It's a solid project. That's why I liked it, and that's why I'm there on the Discord. And even though I have not been participating that much, if you don't add me on the Discord, I'm probably not going to be looking at it.
I have like
There's
40 Discords.
yeah,
I understand. Don't worry.
there's so much stuff going on a day-to-day basis. So I only go and look when like someone tags me and asks me for something. But yeah, I also agree that if you don't stay current with crypto, you're gonna fall behind. Like, who could have foreseen the whole Uniswap thing happening, or or the whole NFTs coming out to be so strong, right? And yeah, or the DeFi aspect of it, right? Like 3 years ago, probably like people were like just tinkering with it, but no one really launching it. And to a certain extent, I would say that DeVault is sort of like a it's sort of like a you know a DeFi project, but without branding itself a DeFi project, right? It was pre-DeFi, it was pre that hype, and I like the fact that it has not used that name to try to push forward and open up more space, right? It's a project, it's a hidden gem, and that's actually a question I'm gonna touch on later on, but or a comment that I want to get out there, right? It's a hidden gem of a project, and but I'll touch back on that. But okay, so you basically stepped ahead of one of the questions that I have, which was part of why did you decide to create DeVault? And I think we already addressed that, right? Because there was like a lot of things that wasn't happening or the right way, and I like that the fact that
Well,
DeVault.
to be fair, like, a lot of the ideas had to start DeVault. Like, I just pitched them to Spock and pitched them to Proteus and pitched them to developers, and I didn't code a single line of this entire cryptocurrency. So it's like, I hate having to point that out all the time. People think I'm a developer or something, because I'm not. I don't. I can do websites. I can do JavaScript or something. I can't do any C or anything good. But at the end of the day, yeah, Bitcoin, is DeFi, like Jake said in chat just now. DeVault is DeFi. I think DeFi is just a extended buzzword for cryptocurrency as a whole, the use cases that are provided with cryptocurrency. And the only reason that cryptocurrency allows DeFi as a buzzword to exist is because we need to have that next hype to go with in terms of like terminology. Before it was like fungibilities and all this, important functions of money. Now that we understand money better as a community, now we're moving on to how do we gamble. And that's fine. It's going to exist one way or the other. I had an argument last night with a friend of mine that was trying to tell me stock market was better than cryptocurrency markets, and I had to like blow up on him for like 10 minutes explaining how like he's so far disconnected from the realities of the world, right? But that's just the way some people are, and that's fine. So same thing with DeFi. People are going to understand. They're going to accept certain words, buzzwords, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you learn from that phase, and then what sticks around. So if DeFi is useful, then pieces of DeFi will continue to live on. If DeFi is mostly a scam, then most of DeFi is going to fall apart, and then we're going to go back to vanilla currencies. So like that's just at the end of the day, that's also why we created DeVault. I mean, that's the answer. At the end, we wanted something. All of us, not just me, wanted something that would be able to adapt and be able to grow, and that's the goal. Because we've seen a lot of cryptocurrencies, and Spock loves this term, technical debt. There are so many projects we could have forked that would have made our job so much easier coding and launching. We wouldn't have spent months and lots of money launching. We would have just launched, right? Copy paste. That's all we would have had to done. But looking at all the technical debt, looking at all the things that were maybe not done in an effective manner, we were like, you know what? Let's just start over. And I think that goes to show like why we started DeVault. We didn't just start it to make a quick currency and pop it on and drop it on CoinMarketCap. Instead, we wanted to build a literal peer-to-peer banking infrastructure. That's kind of the back end definition in my mind. If I want to simplify it for people, I say we're trying to become a peer-to-peer bank. That's kind of I think what my putting into the DeVault vision, that was my goal with that part of it. Spock and Proteus and plenty of other people, Lex, I can go on and on. There's lots of 20 plus people that helped us launch this project. They had a lot of input, a lot of ideas. So it's not even just like, it's not my project, like I helped start it. I helped come up with a name or whatever else. Like, but the people building it are actually decentralized, and that's great.
That's pretty cool, man. Steve is saying it's massively. One is massively overvalued, the other is massively undervalued. Balance needs to be restored to the markets. Yes, dude, I agree. Balance needs to be restored to the markets. Something you were talking about and you were mentioning, right? That right now we're on the DeFi space. Or it's right, and it could become a kind of like a scam, and some projects would fall. I believe some of the fundamentals that make DeFi a good next step are going to stick around for some of the projects. Whatever the scammy part is going to fall, just like some of the ICOs 100%. Fell, right?
Like 50% ROI. Like we can all look at that number and just like kind of giggle, right? I hope.
Whatever sounds like food is probably bad.
Or that.
Anyways, look, going back and trying to like get here to a point, like computers, personal computing is not that old, right? You think about it, probably 50 years old would be a good time frame to say PCs were around, right? Maybe late 70s, beginning of the 80s, right? At least you were getting some kind of computing happening at home. Not like with a screen, sometimes just with switches and like playing back and forth with lights, but some type of computing was happening. Right before that, there were like a little bit more massive computers happening, maybe in the 40s, but like, they were insanely huge. They were like to take up massive rooms. But like you think about it, maybe in the span of 60 years, computing has evolved so quickly, and now we're in a part where technology just changes almost on a day-to-day basis. So I believe crypto just being 10 years old, it's still quite young, right? So it's not it's not very old, and we're already coming out with all these new concepts.
Off the top of your head, do you know how old the stock market is?
Oh, dude, fuck, dude.
That would be a good comparison. That was part of my argument with my friend. He was trying to say the stock market's more regulated and all this kind of stuff, and I'm telling him, crypto's only 10 years old. I mean, it's older than 10 years, but I mean, like, Bitcoin crypto is only 10 years old, right? So, like, give it 15, 20 more years. Give it 15 more years. Like, you're going to see a completely different ecosystem than we have today. And I think that is what we're supposed to all look forward to, getting there.
I'm not sure exactly, because there's things that have been happening on stock markets. I'm not sure, like, the U.S. stock market, right? But, like, there's been things or markets that are that have been going on for a long time, right? When you think about it, like maybe it didn't work like a stock market, like the stock market, at least the Wall Street stock market, 1792, I think, right? At least that's why I found real quick here on
Okay.
Google. But when you think about it, people used to get together to buy and sell goods before that. Maybe not in a stock market fashion, but in a market fashion. Actually, when you look at the 3 months forward contracts, right, or why 3 months forward contracts are so important, is because that was the time that you used to take the goods to go from England to India, or from India to England, and you would have to sell and buy based on what the price was going to be looking 3 months ahead. So that's when your futures markets come into play, right? So futures is not something that's new; it's old as hell as well, because you had to, like, if you had to buy in India or sell in India based on the market, like, what you're gonna get from England, but it's gonna take 3 months for it to get there. So you had to, like, see what the environment was like if it was gonna be a shortage of goods, etc., because the price tended to go up, right? But yeah, that's basically where a little bit of that history comes from. And that's a little bit some of the story that I.
And that's just a quick comparison to make for how young cryptocurrencies are right now in comparison to how old they can become. Because the problem, I think, with cryptocurrencies right now, and from a viewpoint of the customers, of the users, of the normal day-to-day people, is that this is crypto. It's not going to get a lot better. It's kind of going to get a little bit better. It's going to become more centralized. It's going to become like banks. But I don't think any of that's true. I think it's essentially going to be an evolution of the stock market itself, and every single company in the future will be able to self-list on a stock market. Essentially, they don't need to go through all these red tapes and all these hoops and things just to get someone to help them and build their vision and their business. And I think that's huge for A, the economy, B, people, and obviously for crypto. That's great, because that gives us so much, like, versatility in terms of product amounts, and like what type of, like, let's say we have competitors of like a Bitcoin or a Ethereum, like, you're going to have a lot of space in there for multiple options to be usable. And that's why I laugh at the maximalists, dude. I'm just like how blind are you that you don't see that this is a stock market again? Like, yes, Bitcoin is whatever you want to call it, make whatever definition you want up for Bitcoin, I don't care. But look around, it's a stock market, man. And if you think every single one of these projects and all of the ones in the future are going to just cease to exist because of your viewpoint, like, I'm sorry, but you're just stupid.
Yeah, well, you call it a stock market. I would say it's a blend between the stock markets and the forex market, right?
Yes.
So you have because they're all currencies to a certain extent. But
no, I think they're more like shares. A lot of them.
You think
honestly,
so?
like,
But shares don't entitle
like
you to
Ripple,
anything, right?
Bro, I think a Ripple and a Lumens and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
100% security up the booty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they don't entitle you to anything. If the company does good, you're not going to get any returns. You're not going to have anything with that, right? Because you're not really buying stock in the company. You're just buying.
I think the logic would.
The way they funded themselves.
Let's say you did well. Let's say you owned a crypto company and you also had a blockchain backing your crypto company, and you were in crypto because you don't necessarily trust the whole fiat system, right?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that money when you make it? Are you gonna put it back into your project and your community and build that value, or are you gonna put it into fiat?
Well, dude, I think it's a tricky question.
That's why they're stocks.
It's a tricky question.
Like DeVault.
Yeah.
I would consider DeVault a stock. Like, as much as that's a stupid thing to say on the internet, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, I'm investing into the good of the community. I'm investing into the whole of what we're building together, and that's where my money's going. I know exactly where I'm putting my money. I'm not gambling on some lotto ticket. I'm not trying to get 17,000% ROI by next month. I'm just trying to put my money somewhere safe. I don't want it to be in the bank, because you know how they are.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be in fiat, because I honestly don't trust this market right now. And for the next 5 years, it doesn't look very healthy, especially if either of these two dimbo idiots win. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Maybe Trump wins, stock market goes up for a little bit. Biden wins, who knows? Maybe it tanks. Maybe he sells out to a couple of banks.
Yeah.
Either way, it's pointless, right?
By the way, Andrew's asking if you have a YouTube channel.
I do, Andrew, but I don't do it anymore. I used to back in the day.
Anyways, going back to your point real quick, though.
You get my point, though.
Yeah,
right?
I get it.
Basically, like, we are evolving over time. We're gonna get somewhere new. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a mix, like you said, of the forex and the stocks. But at the end of the day, it's an evolution of finance, and like, this is the way finance will progress one way or the other. It's going to get more efficient. It's going to get, faster. It's going to get easier to use. I mean, easier to use in terms of owning your actual money. Maybe a little less easy than a bank who does all the hard work for you. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's where crypto's headed, one way or the other. I don't care if people believe it. It's just the way it is.
Well, one of the things I believe might happen, right now, let's say it's not, I would agree with you that it's a little bit more like stocks, where you're buying and selling it and trying to, like, gauge where it's going to go. Like currencies markets, if you want to see it, it's also a little bit similar, because you're buying a currency that's based on a basket of goods. With crypto, right now, what I think is, like, the lack of adoption is what makes it a little bit more like a stock market, where you're buying and selling just for the purpose of like trying to get gains or monetary gains on your assets, or maybe you want to get out of fiat, put it somewhere that's digital, right? But once it becomes a means of payment and an accepted means of payment, then it becomes a little bit more like the currency market as well, right?
Yeah.
Because then you are really able to trade. Imagine you got paid with a stock of Apple.
But isn't
right?
the currency still just like a stock of the country though?
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, because some currencies hold that as the reserve, right? As a reserve currency, you have to have that to print more money.
Like you might not get voting privileges,
right, yeah.
But I mean,
but with what we're saying here, what I'm trying to say is, right now it's like stocks, right? You get paid with an Apple stock, you have to turn it into cash, you're able to use it. Right now, if you get paid in Bitcoin, well, there are places where you can spend it, but not everywhere. So you might need to still convert into cash to use it, right? If you get paid with euros, you're gonna have to turn it into dollars to use it. But at some point in time, when crypto is massively accepted, maybe to the means of credit cards that facilitate the transactions or whatever, or just plastic card, let's say, with chip, because they're not going to be credit cards. They're just going to be cards with crypto cards. Where we're able to use it freely, then it's going to become more like currency, right? And less like stock, because you're going to be able to pay with that currency, and that person's going to be able to accept it, and maybe buy something else with that currency. So it's going to become a real currency by that time. But right now, I do believe it's a little bit more like stocks and the forks combined.
And maybe that's just natural progression of finance or structures. I don't know. Like I'm not going to live 100 years, 200 years, so I can't really tell you. But from like what I've seen in my 30-ish years of living, for as long as I've understood the English language, money's always been the focal point of the world, and that money's always been the dollar. It's always been backed by the U.S. government, all this kind of stuff. 1 second, I need to mute Telegram. I muted it for an hour and it just started freaking out on me.
Yeah, no worries.
But basically, like. Disable notifications. Okay, thanks. Basically, yeah, that's the idea. Like, we're going towards that, but I don't know if that matters long term, because at the end of the day, all financial structures are very similar. Like monies and stocks, and it's all kind of one of the other at the end of the day. I feel like.
A quick question: from idea to launch, how long did it take you guys to get the project live, right? To get DeVault live.
Well, I don't want to call this guy out on chat, but I had hired a developer initially to kind of help us start it, and it just totally was a waste of money. That wasted 3 or 4 months. I was getting told, yeah, we'll get it next week. Oh, sorry, my developer got a divorce next week.
Yeah.
So that went on for like 3 or 4 months until I just said, you know what, we're moving on without you guys. And that was at that point I was in charge, because I was throwing away my own money to try to get this thing started. But I mean, later on, when Spock and Proteus came, I didn't have to offer them anything. They just wanted to help and build the thing properly. So I said, yeah, let's do it. Let's get your guys' ideas on the table. And I think that took us a couple months. So now we're at 6 months of building, nothing done yet. And then it took us about 3 months, I want to say, to code everything after our vision was set in stone in terms of, after all of our chats and branding and everything was discussed. And then as soon as we launched, we actually did a World CryptoCon sponsorship before launch, expecting to launch in December. Right. And I think we ended up launching, like 5 months later. So that was rough, because it's just hard to have that as a launch. Like, oh, we're launching, and then we pass out. We spend all this money on an event. We had so many people telling us how amazing the project looks, and then the bear market comes. Yeah. And then the longest bear market we've ever seen in this market. And then on top of that, we're over here sitting here like, okay, well, we just wasted all this money, and then we launch in a bear market to no hype, because we're a normal project, like with ethics and like standards, and everybody else is out here promising you balloons.
Which is what I like, right? You guys have solid ethics. You talked about Proteus and Spock coming in and helping free, right, without pay, and I guess that's part of the sense of the community that DeVault has, right?
Because they get paid, they get tokens, they get coins,
for sure.
That's not ahead of time.
Yeah, but the fact that they were doing it for like a token that might have, like anything in life, it could have failed. Maybe it didn't take off, and it would have been worth a zero. So they were putting the time and faith on something that they were going to build, but it came from a sense of community and solidarity, where the thing was, we want to help to create something different. And I think some of that community aspect still shows on the DVT community, right? So a lot of people are
trying to keep it alive.
A lot of people are putting in effort to get the things going, right? You have your marketing DAO, but which it's kind of led me into the next question: how many people are currently working on the DVT project, right? Actively, let's say, programming or marketing or doing some kind of extent on DVT.
8.
So 8 people in total.
8 people paid right now.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a pretty solid number, dude.
So we have two developers. We have a third developer who helps us with our DeVault.online platform, but he's kind of a part-time. He helps us when we need help, not necessarily all the time.
Right.
And then we have Spock and Proteus are our core developers, and then we also have a couple like independent developers who we hire from time to time to help us with things. Like our initial launch, we had to hire out some third-party help from Phore, Phore, that crypto, if you guys know it. And they helped us with the seed phrasing at the initial launch of our core wallet and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's just Spock and Proteus doing the 90%, mostly Spock doing the core stuff. Proteus kind of doing a lot of maintenance and a lot of management of that core code as well. But Spock's doing a lot of the actual code writing. And so those two are the main drivers in terms of development. And then we have myself, Bitcoin Jake, Lex, a couple other people that like Alcan, Pest. They help out with, and I'm probably forgetting someone just because you're putting me on the spot here.
Nah, no worries, man.
Sorry to whoever I forgot. But yeah, essentially we're just working on getting the word out there. We're not working on promising anybody anything unnecessary. We only do like 12% ROI per year right now. And we're probably not gonna, as a community, we could pump that, you know what I mean? But like, what's the point if it's just gonna destabilize everything? Might as well be happy with the 12% and go, throw a bag on the moon, a moon bag on Ethereum or something like that, if that's what you want. But at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're focused on. So we don't need a large team. We just need to be able to innovate, to pay attention to the space, and to act on things that we think are good ideas.
Right. So why or how is the project being funded? Because all these people are getting paid, right? They're getting paid with DVT. But before it was being paid with DVT and you guys were getting the money, how was the project funded? Like did you put capital? Did Lex had to put capital? Did Spock had to put in capital? Or did they just put like work, effort, and then you just put in the capital? How did the project get funded to come to be, right?
So we're pretty lean. I mean, I was told once by someone that they spent over $1 million to start a cryptocurrency, and I'm pretty sure we spent under 100,000, and that was in wasted funds and everything like that. Infrastructure costs, just paying for code here and there from people to start with. But we probably wasted. I personally probably wasted like $15,000. Just wasted it, right? It's just like the first time dealing with people on the internet. Anonymous developers can be very difficult and like sketchy.
Yeah, particularly the developer you said that didn't do anything, right? Like was just giving
and
you
he's a guy that I've known
exactly.
And I before that, and like I hope he hears this. Before that, I had some respect for the guy, like he's a solid libertarian, stuff like that, right? But after that happened, after that played out, I felt like it was just a cash grab from my end. So a little bit sour out there. But yeah, essentially that's kind of the funding required. I think most of the time, like right now, everyone's fine with getting paid in future value. It's kind of the mindset that most of us that consider. So like, if I get paid right now, it's probably worth like a couple $100 like a month, right? And like I wake up every day, I stare at my phone, I do as much as I can, as often as I can to help out and do as many things in terms of networking and being on these shows and whatever else I can do to help, right? And I would love for that to be worth more, obviously, but I'm happy with getting a couple $100 worth of coins every month to work on the project, right? And I would hope other people would feel the same way. Obviously, if there's someone that comes along and they're like, hey, here's my rate, $300 an hour, no ifs, ands, or buts. Sorry, dude, we can't help you. But if you understand what we're trying to do here and you're willing to kind of take a future value payment in terms of like what we can build towards, instead of what you're going to get paid today so you can dump it tomorrow, then we're happy to do that. But at the end of the day, that all adds up to us having very low funding model. We don't have to have a lot of funding. We're very lean. We don't pay for any exchange extortion fees. I just said exchange extortion fees, by the way, not listing fees, because that's what they are. And I think at the end of the day, we're just looking for ways to be effective and not dump on the community, because a lot of these coins, what they do is they pre-mine or they get masternode systems with high ROI, or whatever they do to centralize the amount of coins that are in circulation into a few hands, and then they can control the market. And that essentially turns into a pump and dump scheme long term, right? So for us, the less we have to dump, the less we have to, fund things from DeVault blockchain, like that's better for us right now, because we're trying to let that balance build and grow and become useful later on. Spending $10,000 or $2,000 even right now is very expensive because we're only at 6 satoshis, like 7 satoshis, 10, 12 on a good day. So we're losing a lot of opportunity costs on that if we spend so early. So right now the answer is we're not very expensive. It was funded personally by myself and some other people that helped out early on, and then we basically just did that so we can launch a solid blockchain, and that was a burnt cost, and now I'm just getting a couple $100 a month, and hopefully eventually I can make my money back. But like I could honestly care less. I can make my money back on another project, like on a DeFi or something. I like DeVault for the safety purposes of it, for how like it's like Doge, or it's like the point of Tether. I don't like Tether. Don't clip me and say something about Tether because I know you'll do that. But but Tether in my mind scares me, right?
Right.
And so DeVault is like the opposite of that effect. It's safe. It makes me feel safe because I know what's going on in the background. I know we're not doing anything shady. I know there's not a shadow banking entity or whatever the hell's going on in this space right now. And I can put my money there and I can sleep at night.
Yeah.
You know? That's kind of why we're doing that. And so it doesn't need a lot of money to do that. You know, we don't. If we're trying to pump and go to the moon and get on Binance, and maybe we need $100,000 listing fee. Yeah. And that gets very expensive very quick. But I don't think we need that. I think we can do better than that, and I think we can do.
Look,
we can be more thoughtful than
right now. I think that's gonna be the least of your worries. Right now, exchanges are forgoing the listing fees because they just want to get, like, with Uni, they're starting to list whatever they can because people are gonna go elsewhere. So if you start to get attention in the right way, right, not by paying or anything, you start to get attention from the other exchanges, from people requesting it, etc. They're gonna invite you, and you're not gonna have to pay anything, right? Because those listing fees, or that extortion, as you refer to, is gonna end up dying out. That exercise, for them, because they were doing all this due diligence to be able to list a project. They were doing everything, right? And then
that's what they say.
CZ came out and said, "Oh well, we just have to list the project quickly because otherwise the money goes elsewhere." Like, then where's that whole due diligence that you're supposed to do to protect your investors,
right? Was that CZ or was that SBF? It might have been SBF.
I think it was Chang Peng. He came out and said it on a tweet.
One of you. Same idea.
Yeah. Oh, pass holes.
Yeah, no, I get your point. And so, how about this one? Like, I asked FTX. I said, "Hey, can we list on your futures market?" And they basically told me, "Sorry, $50 million market cap and $50 million daily liquidity, or 50,000. I forget, one of the two. Maybe 50,000 to be more fair to them. But at the end of the day, that's not realistic. You know what I mean? Like, the $50 million market cap for a legitimate project is very hard to get to. Like, you're only going to get to a $50 million market cap if you're doing something really sketchy, or you got a billionaire backing you or something like that. Otherwise, you got 2-3 years of building ahead of you, and by that point, everyone's leapfrogged your project, and what are you going to do then? You're starting over?
Yeah. Jake's saying he did the research and he fell in love with DVT, legit project. Yep. And then Pest came in and said, yo. And then Jake said it was ZZ. All right, cool. I think I have another question, though. So I guess part of addresses the question, right? Or we kind of touched it, surrounded it. But my question was going to be, why no ICO for the project, right? Because ICO would be a quick way to catapult yourself, to get a lot of money coming in. You get investors to back you, let's say. They get a sizable position for very cheap. And then...
So I'm from the United States of America. The SEC controls my life. And I didn't want to put a target on my back is the easy answer.
Right.
The real answer is we're not stupid. So, like, ICOing... I guess if that works for you, that works for you. There are better, more ethical, smarter, like more thoughtful ways to fund things. And ICOs are very short-term mindset things. And we're not a short-term project. We're a long-term project.
Well, ICOs come...
DeVault, to me, is a 5-year play. So 5 to 10 year play, right? So if I'm thinking like that, an ICO is just gonna it's gonna crunch the lifetime of that project to nothing immediately because the incentive is now on everybody to sell those coins.
Yeah, that's what just what I was going to say. ICOs does bring the whole dump after it gets listed, right? Because the people that invested just want to get their value out real quick.
Unless you watch trade, I guess. If you really are about that life and you are a true degenerate and you want to make a bunch of money in this space, and this is not financial advice, and do not call me the FBI or whoever the hell you think I'm
the whole thing says it's not financial advice in the bottom of the description, guys.
Good. But you could literally make... Look, this is the problem with centralized exchanges, too. If a developer is smart enough to run a decentralized exchange, they're smart enough to start a DeFi scam.
Yeah.
Why would they work at the exchange when they can just bust out a scam on crypto, make a couple million, move on with their life, get another job somewhere because they did it anonymously or whatever else, like the KuCoin hack last night. Like, if anybody doesn't think that was some sort of an inside job, I'm sorry, but just go walk away from crypto right now. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that a decentralized... did you know that just for a second, did you know that their cold wallet automatically refilled their hot wallet?
That shouldn't be
happening. That's how dumb these exchanges are.
Yeah. That shouldn't be happening,
They don't even understand the basics of crypto, dude.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, man. It just gets me to the point where it's like, what do you do in this space anymore? Like, everyone's kind of showing how stupid they are.
Have they come out with a total value of the hack? I don't think I've seen it.
I don't know. I didn't.
Someone sent me the wallets, and I looked at it, and I think yesterday I just calculated up to $4 million. Right? It wasn't even that big of a payday.
No, because Tether froze 20 million, and another exchange froze like 30 million or something. So it's everywhere. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But I think some of it's in EOS, some of it's in Tether, and whatever, all that kind of stuff, right? But essentially, the point is like in crypto, everything you don't know right now. You don't know what's going on. So for us, the like DeVault is that thing that we know we can always go like say, hey, it's the light in the dark room. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but at least DeVault's there trying to do things like a Bitcoin style way, slow, steady, smart, not just changing things because one guy made a scene on Twitter. Instead, we have a voting mechanism for adjustments of the code base, all that kind of stuff that's just logical. Like Decred does it great. I love Decred as well because it's very similar to DeVault. Not because the name, but just because the way that the goal of, of the project is, right? I want to say we do it a little simpler than them on purpose, just to kind of get more people involved. They have a voting system is a little complicated in Decred, but the idea is the same. You get everybody involved in a currency that could become a worldwide currency. You give them power and voice based on the amount of coins, some form of that they own. And now you have a democracy of some form, like not a democracy, but like you have some form of like oligarchy or whatever government style you want to call it, right? And from there we can integrate new features and make it more fair and lower the barrier to entry and do our best to bring people into an ecosystem that is essentially an open source banking ecosystem. But when you have these centralized exchanges that are making the rules, that vision is very hard to attain, you know?
Yeah. So something that I wanted to touch on, and you said like the other company also has the voting, and then you also have the voting. But once you get more people in, and you know, anyone is able to put up a proposal for voting. Do you think it's going to become an issue when there's so many people trying to vote, and your vote is locked in already somewhere that might be worth it, but then you also have somewhere else you also want to vote, but you cannot go vote there, and the system could sort of get abused in that way, or there's going to be so many proposals out there that it's going to be hard to keep up with them at some point in time. When imagine you have like 1 million users, right, and like 100,000 of them are putting out proposals. Are you going to really have time to go through 100,000 proposals? Like, is there going to be some way to sort them out in the future and just get some proposals to be able to look at? Or?
So there's a couple answers to that. One, I've heard that argument a lot ever since back in the day when Darkcoin added masternodes, it became Dash. And then we basically always had this argument back in the community about like, you know, lowering the barrier to entry for people to get involved. And then there's also a burn fee related. So in Dash, if you want to submit a proposal, you actually have to burn some coins, like 0.5 Dash or something like that, which is like a lot of money sometimes. You know, it was up to $500 cost to submit a proposal. So we got away. We did away with that to stop this. But we can add a mechanism like that to stop any sort of like low quality proposals. We can have those people do a separate platform. We can integrate into the wallets. We can integrate voting to make it simpler. And by the way, you can vote on more than one proposal at any given time with the same address. So
all right, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you can vote on everything, and then with that one address, it'll just up. And then if you sell your coins, it'll just unvote for you. So if you do add coins though, it'll update and add more coins for you later on in the vote. But essentially the goal with that is like, you're right, it could become extensible to where it's too much. It's just too much going on, and we have to adjust it at that point. But I mean, that's a great problem to have, right? If you're getting 1,000 proposals, and I've never seen even Dash get more than a couple a month. At a good month, I think they had 15, 20. So I think that just goes to show how much harder it is to get people involved in this space, but also goes to show like people don't want to waste their effort on low quality proposals for free money. They'd rather just go big.
And I was gonna say, did people like people don't want to like sometimes deal with putting out their proposals. They just think they have a good idea, but once you have to make them work a little bit for that idea, they just let it go sometimes because it's too much of a hassle for them, right?
You will be so surprised how many people have an idea and they just want to throw it out there like we're supposed to pick it up and run with it. It's just like, dude, we got plenty to do. If you want to help out, there's your idea. Go do it. You know, it's right there for you. Throw a proposal up. We'll click yes for you.
Yeah, and then they just don't want to do the proposal part.
Yeah, it's just they think that they're. I don't know. I don't want to be rude, but it's like some sort of entitlement, I guess, with their ideas. You know, like they feel like it's so important that you should do it because it's a great idea.
Right.
It's like if it's such a great idea, then you need to do it. You know,
and that's the whole point. At the end of the day, entrepreneurs are successful because they do their own work at the beginning, right? You have to when you're starting up a company, you're doing everything. You don't have someone to tell go do that, right? So this is a project. You want something to happen. You got to put in the effort and you got to put in time, just like everyone's putting in the effort and time to make the project be better, but everyone's working on their own thing, right? That's the whole point about being decentralized. And you don't have a boss that's going to tell you go do that, you should go do that. Yeah, there's a proposal out there, it gets agreed, then it becomes a whole thing of how we're going to handle it to make it go through. Instead of like, you're going to be assigned to do that, you're going to be assigned to that. It's like, who wants to do this or should you do that, you know? But yeah, I agree. It's a good...
That was the point, because I've had a lot of interactions. Like, I'm a pretty abrasive individual sometimes online. Like, if I don't like what somebody says, I have no problems telling them they're stupid. Like, I don't care who you are. You can be... I'm blocked by, like, probably every Bitcoin maximalist you find on Twitter. I'm pretty sure, except for the ones that are kind of secretly not Bitcoin maximalists. They're just virtue signaling to be accepted. But like all those people, like off the top of my head, like Francis Boulet from Bull Bitcoin and all those similar type people that are super toxic and think Bitcoin's the only thing that's gonna ever exist because everyone else is stupid.
Yeah.
Like I'm blocked by all of them because I've told them every time I see a stupid tweet, I'm like, what the hell is going through your brain that you thought this thing? This is like, just think again, bro. You're not making any sense. Boom, blocked, right?
I hate people that block people. They
that's just how it is, though.
Yeah, but there's people out there that go like, oh, freedom of speech. We should all have a voice, and they're the first ones to block people, right? Of course, you speak your mind. They don't like what you say. Oh, I block you, man. Talk to the hand, right? It's so freaking weird, man, that all these people out there are so hypocritical when they come. Like, they're just hypocrites, right? It's just weird. Anyways, I've never seen an airdrop or an official airdrop for DeVault or any kind of bounty, let's say. There are like tweets that like get monetized, but I wouldn't consider those to be bounties, right? You just gotta like do a small task and you get like some DVT. Yeah. But are there any airdrops in the books, or are there any bounties coming out, or like have you guys ever considered anything like that to try to get more adoption, to try to get more people to hear about the project? I know there's people that just hunt for projects so they can sell quickly, right? And being the point that DeVault doesn't have that huge value right now, I do believe that if you come out with some kind of reward that it's like not even that big, people might be tempted to hold, because the value of the project right now, it's like you said, around 6 sats. So you might be able to sit on that and maybe wait for it to happen, but you'll have more people hearing about the project and more adoption maybe. I'm not sure, like, if you guys have any thoughts of that.
So I got a long answer to that question.
Yeah.
So you got to bear with me for just a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes is the answer, but we did it in a roundabout way. So cold rewards is a unique cold code base, right? Like Spock, we coded it.
Yeah.
Spock coded that from scratch. Basically the goal of that, we didn't fork a nav coin or a PivX or any of those projects that have a staking feature for one reason. You have to have an online node, and the distribution is too skewed towards whales, right?
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do was what you're saying, give away airdrops to people, right? But we wanted to do it constantly, fairly, distribute it as much as possible, and give them some sort of financial requirement to get to that sort of thing, to weed out the bots, right?
Yeah.
To weed out the people searching for free money. So what we did is create cold rewards, and cold rewards does, for people that are watching that don't know, is it basically gives you 1%. Right now it adjusts over time, but right now current number is like 1% per month of cold rewards, which means you can put a paper wallet on your desk, deposit DeVault in it, scan that paper wallet next month, and you'll have 1% more DeVault on the paper wallet. You don't need to have an online node, you don't need to have a master node. And the reason that we did it that way is so we can constantly be airdropping people that are participating in the community without having them have some sort of technical requirement to actually participate, some sort of barrier per se, right? So that is a yes to your answer, but also another yes would be, yes, we would love to do things like that. The problem being is that opportunity cost being lost on the giveaways. So if we give away tons of coins now, I already know how to pump the price. I could pump the price, sketchy pump the price, no problem, like everybody else does. I could hire a market making company, that I just get a contract with them. They'll start pumping like basically millions of dollars into the market cap, which is not realistic, but CoinMarketCap will see it as that, and they'll trade the price back and forth. We could give them a bunch of coins, they could basically just do this, and then the price would rise, right? But then once that's done, that goes down again, right? Once we stop paying, once you stop pumping the price drops. That's what pump and dumps are. When people do that and then they stop doing that. So what we're trying to avoid is any sort of pump and dump actions like that, because pump and dumps are what's A, people get burnt, B, it's not healthy. It's not actual organic growth at all. So if we target distribution in a smart way, via cold rewards, via tips, via coin kits or whatever it may be, and just distribute those rewards through as many mechanisms as possible, we're a much healthier of a community, as opposed to we just launched with a pre-mine. Here's a Uniswap airdrop for everybody of $400,000 to $500,000 each, and by the way, our VCs are just going to buy that token you're dumping tomorrow. That's not what we're doing, because A, we don't have a VC company. B, we're not an ICO, so pre-mines. C, like, that doesn't help anybody. Again, like I've said that so many times, but like, it's just, we're trying to build a real community. Like, I respect the Bitcoin community. I respect them because they've built a community that's immutable. Like, that community is not going to go anywhere. It might change, but it's going to be there. I don't care if the CIA or FBI, I don't care if Donald Trump his fucking self wants that shit to go away. They're irrelevant. Like, Bitcoin has superseded the authority of the government. period.
Yeah, just like the internet.
So,
right?
but why did that happen? It's because they built an amazing community. It's not because of the technology. The technology could have died off like all the other cryptos that popped up before that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we're trying to do. The end game is not the price. It's not the market cap. It's not the how many airdrops people got to dump for $400. It's the community size, the community's like ethical standards, and it's also the community's like veracity, like how much they're gonna get together and work, right? So that's what we focus on building. We don't focus on any other stats except for building that community, because everything else will come later, like naturally. And especially if everything goes bad in crypto for a couple of years, we are in such a good spot to not have to deal with any of that crap. Like all the centralized exchanges getting hacked, all these exchanges dumping on the coins that they're listing, all these like just weird stuff, like the Cryptopia stuff. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff is because these people are abandoning their Bitcoin ideals and going to use centralized companies.
Yeah, I agree. That like you're becoming you're forgetting the decentralized aspect of crypto, and you're just going back into crypto, right? That's why I said like when banks are offering to hold crypto, it's like, dude, really? I mean, you're getting into crypto to get out of banking just to put your money back in the bank as a custodian. Does that sound logical to you? Why are you gonna go back to bank, dude? If the government says freeze those assets, yeah, but like if the government or any kind of police says freeze those assets because you're a suspect of something, then they have to comply and freeze your assets. And you no longer are financial independent. It's no longer your keys, your crypto. You know, it's like, why go back into that? Anyways, Jake said Bitcoin is forever.
It is.
I know it was a good answer though. It was a good answer.
Even if Bitcoin, like just to throw some cringe in the episode for everybody that hates to hear this kind of stuff, but even if Bitcoin, the current code base, dies, something will pick up that brand and run with it. Bitcoin as a brand will never die.
Yeah.
Just the way it is.
I was gonna ask you something, and like you stated before, like about the privacy mechanism of BLS, right? Yeah. And I understand that's like for signatures, I guess. But could this bring issues when you list on exchanges? Because like exchanges don't want to have privacy coins, right?
Don't care.
You don't care.
They can go fuck themselves.
All right. Yeah.
That'll be the last time I use that word.
That's all good, man. No worries. That's just a question I had, and I know I was gonna bring some kind of that reaction because you know.
That's why you have.
Yeah. Because like what I know is like some of your exchanges have to comply with the KYC and AML, and a lot of people don't like to use exchanges because you know you have to like put up your data, which kind of like defiles the purpose of privacy with crypto, right? So they already know who you are. As soon as you use one of those. Any exchange that has KYC has your data.
Oh, they connect your Google to your Twitter to your everything, dude. They know everything.
Yeah, but once you put your data there, you send your picture, and you have an address. Once you start sending funds through that address and then flow them to wherever you want to go, they can track every movement of that money and guess whether or not that's you that's holding
Anybody
that wallet.
Can track it. It's not the government you should worry about. It's the people that don't work for the government you should worry about.
Yeah. Jake saying
you can worry about the government if you're a criminal, but I mean, like if you're a normal citizen and you're trying to use like cryptocurrency and you're worried about KYC, it's not. It's because of the people that can hack that data. Once you get to the black market or the darknet and your information's on there, your house address, your credit card numbers, any of that information, it's there forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no erasing that stuff. So that's the reason for me KYC is a complete sham.
Just
like,
say
there's no reason I would ever tell anybody to use a KYC exchange in my life. And I would go out of my way to help them not using the KYC exchange actually and help them understand this. But that's the point of privacy at the end of the day. Fungibility, I like to refer to it as, because like it makes every token worth one token. You can't just, like in Bitcoin, it's not fungible because the government can technically blacklist addresses. Yeah. And if they do that, then it's not decentralized at all because they can just like pull a China on the whole world. So I think that's part of it. And then I think, another part of the privacy aspect being important is that like criminals, like I want to go into the whole bunch of this necessarily because it'll take a long time, but I've been robbed for crypto. I know what it's like to be found off the internet and you thought you were kind of anonymous, and like that shit is scary. You know what I mean? Like you get in that situation, your whole mindset on the whole world changes, and like you start thinking about things a little differently. So I think that's part of it as well. It's just the safety aspect of it, because if we get into this world where crypto westerns is like wild west actually continues to exist, people are going to continue to get robbed. People are going to continue to have honeypot projects. They're going to basically sign up for these KYC exchanges. That exchange is basically going to be an outfit from another exchange that was doing an offshoot company because they couldn't break the law with their real company or whatever. And then they're going to go out of business. They're going to have someone hack them, by the way. I don't know how all these off-the-counter exchanges are getting hacked. I wonder how that happened.
Some stuff.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, DeVault is supposed to help solve a lot of those problems. Like, if we get a decentralized exchange built into DeVault, or if Wrap DVT is huge for us, like, we don't even need exchanges anymore.
Yeah.
They can actually like just ignore us and we could care less.
Yeah.
And we're actually helping our users by doing that.
Yeah.
Because we're not dumping on them to list those. We're not giving the exchanges tons of coins, 5-10% of the whole coin, like, you know, supply. That's what most of these exchanges want.
Yeah.
And so like I think that's, you know, people need to start thinking about that more, because they overlook projects that are trying to help them by doing things the right way, and they'll gladly jump in bed with something that's willing to tell them that it's a scam.
Yeah.
Like I just
some stuff
blows
here.
my mind sometimes.
Some stuff here real quick in the chat. Jake was saying that no, they could track account balances easy. Yeah, they can track the balances. Use the least amount of KYC as possible, but Bitcoin on Cash Up, then Dex is all the else like DVT. All right. Then Richard Toshi. See one of your viewers talk about Honey and Honey Swap the other day. No, dude, we're not gonna do crypto right now. This is just an interview stream. The volume keeps growing. Yeah, dude, but you know, today is just an interview. Jake already addressed that. Okay, cool. Everything's good. Jake putting up the DeVault site and the Discord. Awesome, bro. Thank you, Jake, for sending those links. And Rich, sorry, man. We'll talk about that later on. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do a stream tonight. I might be going out of town, still to be determined. But if I'm here a lot in the night, we'll talk about crypto at night. Yeah, I agree. Like the whole KYC and how to like get rid. There's mixers. You're not 100%. There's ways you can try to like become
even then
a little bit
even
invisible.
then. Even Monero. Like I love Monero. I love the concept of Monero. But the reason here, let me just explain what BLS is real quick and then tell you why I think it's better. BLS is essentially a way to, like, when you send a transaction on the Bitcoin blockchain, you send it. This is the block explorer when you send it in, and here's the exact line of when you send it out, right? So like people can literally look at the block explorer, see your address, see all the transactions you made, and the only fix for that in Bitcoin is use a new address every time, which is like horrible user experience for one. For two, what if someone like accidentally uses the old address and next thing you know all the funds are connected, you know what I mean? So point is with BLS is it's going to disconnect those connections on the block explorer and in the blockchain. It'll randomize and adjust everybody's like transactions to split them up. So if you send 20 coins, it's going to like put it in a block with every single other transaction instead of just a little block with 3 or 4 transactions. It's going to put a big old block. That big old block's going to have so many 20s, and they're not going to be directly connected to these 20s. They're all going to be randomized. There's not going to be addresses and public keys connected to everything. So that is like a Mimblewimble or a Beam in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's better than a Monero, because as secure as Monero is and as stupid as the government is, let's just say someone decides that they're smarter than Monero and they want to help crack the honeypot for the government, right? Goodbye all, and I'm not trying to flood Monero. Yeah. Monero's great. Like this, hopefully this never happens. So I'm just saying it's a possibility. You never know when the honeypot gets cracked, and Monero is technically a privacy honeypot. That's the design, right? So as long as everyone's anonymous and as long as everyone stays anonymous, you're cool. But as soon as they start chipping away at that anonymity, I don't know, man. There's not going to be a lot of ways to create a brand new honeypot all the time, you know? So I think BLS is nice because it's a simple, effective, like logical way to disconnect privacy from crypto.
I saw this airdrop the other day that the SEC or some government agency was paying people to help crack these privacy coins.
$600,000?
Yeah. I think it already expired on like the 14th of this month, but
it's not enough money.
Yeah, but still, dude, it's you know, they're desperate to try to break this anonymity because they want to know who they are, because information is power, right? Money's power, but information is also key, right, to that power. And I do get what you said. Like let's say I want to send 20 DVT from my wallet to another one of my wallets. It goes onto this and it goes into this like empty space where there's all these other changes, like you said, right?
Mixer.
But I might get your 20, right? So it would seem like your 20 came into my wallet, and then my 20 could go into your wallet, right?
Well, you wouldn't even be able to see.
Yeah. But 20 will come out.
It's just a pile.
You just don't know
it's like a
whose
pile
20
of
you're
needles,
getting,
basically.
right?
Yep, exactly.
Anyways, now I was gonna say could it bring issues with transparency, but I think you already established that you really don't care about that.
Yeah. So like I said, like exchanges are going to be irrelevant soon.
Yeah, I agree.
One way or the other.
Yeah, because these swaps are becoming a little bit more.
Even if they have another 10 years in them, eventually exchanges won't have a rope to hang themselves with.
Well, exchanges are going to be there, I guess, for the on-ramp, for people to be able to put fiat into crypto. Other than that, and to exit into fiat, right? Because other than that, you're going to have
ATMs. You think ATMs are a better onboarding than exchanges, though?
Yeah, they could, but they have not been massively adopted. And you know all these scams that are coming out? Like, there's a guy that posted, like, a sheet of paper in front with a QR code, said, like, oh, ATM is broken. Just scan this code, and then you do the transaction, right?
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that one? That was
they fell for that?
Yeah, people were falling for it. But you know,
Okay, maybe centralized exchanges will always exist. I guess I don't
there's
know.
people that are gonna be like, you know, they're gonna be dumb enough to fall for some kind of scams. But like, you know, for a lot of people right now, and with the way things are, and until we expand into a world where crypto, it's a little bit more mainstream. I think people are gonna need that onboarding from their bank onto the exchange,
Yeah.
and then the exchange onto crypto, and then you can go whatever you want from there. You can go wild, right? Sky's the
But
limit.
like CZ said, if he doesn't list stuff, he becomes irrelevant,
Yeah.
right? The banks are going to start to feel the same way.
Well, yeah, banks might be able to give you. Oh, you want to buy XRP?
Nasdaq,
Like,
all of
imagine going to the bank and say, dude, I want to buy DVT, and the bank just puts some DVT in your account, right? Oh, you're holding DVT already, right? You don't have to go to an
they
exchange.
probably
right?
charge you like a 12% fee, but yeah.
But I mean, their
yeah.
infrastructure is going to have to change, right? I mean, when you think about
Yeah.
banking fees, where do you think those banking fees come from? Well, they have to pay this huge ass structure that they have, and they charge you.
They make so
right?
much more money. Do you know Bank of America made like $30 billion 1 year from overdraft fees?
Yeah, yeah. It's just insane,
what?
right? Because and
Like
they,
that. Oh, I'm sorry, that can't exist
yeah,
in the future.
it's off. Anyways, I was gonna ask if this could bring issues with transparency, maybe because to where people can use the project for like illegal purposes, right? Because the mixer is gonna make it to where no one knows. But I guess that's a risk that everyone is supposed to, right? Any
Yeah, I
project
think
is supposed to.
that's
but,
crypto though, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to censor who can use your product,
Yeah.
is it really crypto? Like I don't think
Well,
so.
dude,
Like if you
cash.
have the ability to censor people from using a financial ecosystem, I'm sorry, but that is not a financial ecosystem.
You're making it a little bit more like cash, where it's untraceable, right? You can, if I go out and buy something with cash, no one's gonna have a copy of that transaction. No one's gonna know that I bought it, and that's why all these programs to like on like supermarkets where you give your number so they can like they give you like the discount are there, right? Because how are they gonna know if you pay with cash? Who's buying the stuff? Oh, well, if we register that person and then he has a customer number, when he comes in and he gives a customer number, then we know he's buying even though he's paying with cash, and then we have a registry that he's buying.
You've
that
also
stuff,
never
right?
had anybody hunt your US dollar serial number down on an internet database, have you? Because you can do that with Bitcoin.
No, I haven't done that. Anyways, Jake saying on the XMR bounty, yeah, exchanges will be for white collar people trying to stay legal. Yes, I agree, dude. Exchanges are going to be there for the mainstream, I guess, and for like the you know the large investors, or what do we call them, institutional investors.
Fails.
Yeah, and well, fiat is debt money. Crypto is up for front money. Yeah, dude, fiat is debt money, and crypto is up front money. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Anyways, have you found it hard to bring liquidity into the project, into DVT?
Oh, big time. Yeah, because like I said earlier, like it requires a wash trading
Yeah.
contract with a market maker essentially, or a lot of your own money to just front run everybody in the market. Because the way markets work is it's based on the last sell. I don't care, you know, volume, liquidity, whatever.
Yeah.
If the last sell has enough to dump that price down, that's just the way it is. You know, like it's the last market sell. So if you're trying to bring a bunch of, like, let's say we're proof of work, we have cold rewards, we have, you know, we have some people that most people don't dump their paychecks because they don't need to, they just hold it. But let's say that for some reason someone has to sell some of their coins they got paid.
Yeah.
So there is some sell pressure, right? Which means like at the beginning of, I think I remember we had about $5,000, $6,000 of actual real money. We've always had real money volume. Like it's one of the things people don't understand, right? They look at $100,000 volume on some other shit coin and they think it's the exact same metric as our $900 volume, and I always try to tell them, like, no, that's a fake number you're looking at. Ours is real. There's a big difference. But that makes that it's very hard to trick everybody, because we're not trying to, into believing that the price is going to go through the moon. You need to FOMO in, and that's kind of what brings those pumps. That's what brings that massive liquidity and or that market making contract. We didn't have a pre-mine in ICO, so we couldn't bribe these exchanges to list us. I think some coins have done this thing where they basically pre-mine coins and say, hey, exchange, do you want this? List us. If not, we're burning the coins. And the exchanges go, okay, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Let me get those coins.
And then the exchange does the watch
it.
trading, and then they
Exactly.
they
And
dump
I've
the
been
coins,
offered.
right?
And don't get me wrong, I've had so many emails, so many Telegram messages. Oh, we're so-and-so exchange, and we'll help you, blah, blah, blah. We only want blah, blah, blah money, and blah, blah, blah. And I just ignore it all. And I tell them, you can do it for free, you can list us for free, or you can just go keep messaging me because I'm not going to respond to you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're going to get as an answer from me.
Right.
So, like,
and I think that shows good ethics, dude. Really, because the project should be listed because it's worth.
Though, you know?
The project should be listed because it's worth, not because you want to like make quick buck on the project, right? And this project is not here to turn a quick buck around, right? It's a long-term project, like you said. It's a long-term play. Of course, in the end, we all want to make money on the project, but we're gonna get there the right way, right? By putting in hard work, by bringing in awareness to the project, by working on educating the people on the project, but not by paying exchanges to like get listed, and paying exchanges to do wash trading and pump up the volume, fake volume, right, or dump on us all when it gets listed and it goes to the moon, right? If that happens organically, right, that you get listed, you get requested to be listed, yes, they're gonna have, the exchange is gonna have to ask for some coins to have liquidity on the exchange, I guess. But it's not going to be a fact that you're paying to get listed plus putting in some coins, right? So you're paying a lot sometimes to get listed.
And a good example of that is like the last project I helped to start was Smart Cash, right? And I consider them complete scammers at this point because of the way that they handled the project and the way they made me look so bad because of the way that they handled the tokenomics and the governance and all this kind of crap. Like they just made stupid decisions, right? We got hacked by people because the code sucked, like all this kind of stuff. They have a $6 million market cap with like, I don't know, I'm just guessing like $50,000, $100,000 of volume every day. But if I go sell like $500 of coins in that $1 million of market cap, the buy orders vanish, my man. They vanish. The bot knows. The bot's like, nope, not buying that. And the bot lowers the price and lowers the price and lowers the price until you're just gonna market dump into that bot at that point, right? You're just gonna market sell into that bot. And now they scrape the profits up. Their market making contract does. They keep the coins. They push that price right back up with a little bit more fake money.
And I think
it's
Binance.
on Tether only. The only pairs are Tether, but they have a $6 million market cap, and they're a legit project because they are worth millions of dollars. While DeVault is only $200,000 market cap, and everyone's like, oh, it's a shitcoin. It's like, did you look at anything but the market cap?
Yeah. Well, people are in for the money. Just want to get the money, right? They don't care about how it works, how it's going along. And that's why the project, I guess, is taking a little bit longer to take off than other projects, right? Because
look what happened to Bitcoin.
And that's fine,
how
right?
long was Bitcoin alive before it took off?
I know, and that's great, man. I don't have anything against that, but I'm telling you why people are there, right? But that's why people look at market cap and how much money they're gonna make, how quickly they can turn around their dough. Because people that are coming into crypto lately, right? Not the first hardcore, like the OGs of crypto, but the new people that are coming into crypto. They're coming in to make a quick buck because they know it's a wild west. They know they get wild volatility, right? It's not like the market that's highly regulated. You can make 10% gains in a day, or 20% gains in a day, 100% gains in a day. Some projects even went up 1,000% in a day, right? This DeFi stuff. Yeah. But people are there for the quick buck, right? The people that
I think meme is up like 8,000% or some crazy amount like that. Like people that got the meme airdrop could have like $500,000 or more, and it started at $10 or something stupid like that, and that happened in like 2 weeks. Yeah.
It's insane what's happening with some of these projects. Anyways, which projects is DVT currently listed in? Because I know it's listed in a couple exchanges. I know it's like South Exchange, GravyX, Fry, BlockDex. I'm not sure which ones in general, but I know there's like 4 or 5 that it's listed on. I'm not sure if there's one being added, but.
So SouthX is just the main exchange because it's the easiest to use, like usability wise. It doesn't have KYC, so everyone kind of trades there automatically. And that was our first main exchange, so the volumes kind of resided there for a long time. I think we spent about $7,000 getting listed on GravyX to like for no reason, in my opinion, for no reason. They haven't helped us a lick. They haven't, like, no traders have traded GravyX basically because I don't know how many traders actually exist on that exchange, for my opinion. But like, let's just say those exchanges are all fine and whatever. We're listed on 4 or 5 exchanges. BlockDX, I would say, is the most future-leaning exchange because it's an actual decentralized exchange, which means that you can open up a core wallet on your computer, I can open a core wallet on my computer, and we can actually swap on blockchain without any exchange involved. So I think that's one of our best exchanges that we have. But currently, all the volume is on our centralized first exchange, which is SouthX. You have the Fry exchange. I think, let's see, GravyX. You have. There's another exchange I'm trying to think of right now. Crypto Mercado is
Crypto Mercado, right?
It's like a Latino like version. I forget where it's from, but basically it's South American.
Yeah, I think it's from Venezuela. Venezuela or Colombia or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See, like I haven't looked too much into it. But basically, it's an ecosystem, a financial ecosystem with fiat onboard and offboard. Or on ramps and off ramps, and then.
I think they're partnered with Bitso, right? Or they're powered by Bitso or something like that.
I believe so.
Bitso's a Mexican exchange.
But they're a brand new one, so like we keep trying to. We do try to get on these projects. Like we do see the advantages of the fiat on ramps. But not Tether on ramps because Tether is not fiat, and like it just needs to be accepted that way one day. You know, we need a real dollar pair, we need a real euro pair. We don't need a Tether euro or a Tether dollar. Like that's just not. There's no point.
Right. Jake saying he's degenning into some DeFi now, but not selling his DVT. He hodl hard. I got Freight token and got a tiny bit of DVT from trade fee shares. Awesome, Jake.
I
Um,
think everybody's degenning recently,
yeah,
right? It's been degen week. Right?
yeah, yeah. Dude, are there any other exchanges that are in the work right now? Like, are there any talks with other exchanges that are like close to be listed? I mean, if you cannot say, that's fine. But if you,
So we're already listed on Bastion. If you guys remember Bulwark, it was a
yeah,
project that was alive, a masternode fork of PivX a while back, and they've Stu was the one of the founders, I believe, of Bulwark.
yeah,
Bulwark has since turned into a like another, like they rebased the token, they killed off the project, but they're working on Bastion, which is a exchange.
yeah,
They're gonna have their own token. We're already listed on there. When they're in soft launch mode right now.
yeah,
So whenever they get going, we'll announce that as soon as possible once people can use it and it actually has volume on the exchange and whatnot. But right now they're still building it out, and you can test it out and I think use it for soft launch and beta testing and stuff.
yeah.
But there probably is a couple issues left from what I've seen in Telegram and Discord and stuff. But yeah, that's the next exchange I would say that comes out. Like I said earlier, we're doing the Wrap DVT, which would let us get on Uniswap and other projects like that. So if anybody is on like Uniswap, you'll probably see a WDVT in the future, and then
That's gonna be good.
We'll yeah, exactly. So we're looking towards more innovative ways to create liquidity and volume, as opposed to just like I said earlier, paying those extortion fees and kind of losing out no matter what we do.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier regarding bots, right, and bot trading, and I can tell you, I just had a recent experience with Binance, and that was one of the reasons why I stopped using Binance a long time ago. And you got back into it because I wanted to get into a token, and the easiest way I could do it was to go to Binance because I already had an account, and I really want to set up an account on a new exchange. And it felt like I was chasing, dude. And I tried to get in at a certain point, I couldn't. As soon as I put an order, like, the bots, like 3 bots put like 3 or 4 orders right ahead, right? So like I had to like ramp up my order, and then the bots automatically like put their orders right up ahead again. So it's just like feels like you're trying to climb so you can buy at a certain level, and it wouldn't let me buy at market. If I could have bought at market, it would have been amazing. But the fact is that I just wanted to buy. If I would have bought at market, I would have taken liquidity. I would have taken the taker's fee instead of the maker's fee. But I want to help make the market. But when there's bots in there, and then the bots just keep on moving and pushing for the price up or the price down, it's just so freaking hard to like do actual trading, because you just have to buy at the market, right? You get to take liquidity from the market either way. So it's not good for exchanging. It was just a quick point that I forgot to make earlier.
Wouldn't it make sense though that like bots are more efficient long term? So I understand bots. I don't understand wash trading. Like if you wash trade and you know the difference. But for the people watching, wash trading and market making they might sound the same, but they're completely different in ethical terms and in terms of the way that they play out. So a market making bot is going to set, buy, and sell orders, and that's maybe a couple will activate for no reason, right? You're going to set liquidity. You're going to set actual value on the market. A wash trading is just doing what you said. It's trying to undercut the next person at the very minimal amount to scalp that person. Essentially. So there's if you know how to watch those, that's huge. You know when not to participate in those type of projects, right? Because you can say, oh, this is completely fake volume.
I ended up buying in, and I ended up getting screwed later on because he just dumped.
But if you're new, you don't know, right? Anyway, so like lower market cap coins are much easier to see that fake volume on, because it's just so easy to see in the chart when a bot is setting large orders or whatever else, instead of on Binance where it's like super quick and you're like having a problem even paying attention to the greens and reds. But like on a South exchange, you can see who put a 300,000 coin order and dumped it right away, or changed their order as you placed it. You can see all of that actively playing out. So like, I'm not hating on the market makers. I'm just hating on the way that they.
Sorry, man.
The way that they turn market making into some degenerate tactic. Like it doesn't have to be that way. It can be ethical. It can. So like. You point is that I was making, like, if you know what to look for on a chart. You know what's a scam and what's a not a scam, essentially. And I think that most people think chart go up is a good thing. And it's most of the time it's not.
No, especially when it goes exponential. When it goes parabolic, it's just insane. Dude, I got 2 questions that are kind of related. Are there any expansion plans? And besides the English-speaking community, you have a very active Spanish community on the DeVault. Are you looking to expand into other communities, speaking other languages? Right, so the first one is regarding expansion, and the other one is expansion on communities, let's say, right? But I just wanted to group them together to try to get a general answer there.
First one's kind of a trick question, because since we're decentralized, anybody can do anything at any time if they want to. They can do it for funding or not for funding. In terms of what I'm working on and what I know the team is working on, some things we've touched on already are the BLS signatures for the fungibility privacy aspect of on-chain. We have that Wrap DVT, which is going to be on multiple chains. We just don't know which ones we'll do first, but obviously Uniswap is the first goal, and maybe we'll go to Binance chain or whatever else after that. But basically, we want to get Wrap DVT out there as many places as we can, wherever Wrap Bitcoin is. And then I think after that, it just comes down to like innovating in terms of like redoing some wallet work. We have to go back and do a lot of work with BLS, restructuring of BLS code base for wallets and other supporting things in the ecosystem, because there's going to be a hard fork at some point in the future that gets rid of all of our old address formats, which means we need to act quick and add a bunch of new address formats to like Bitcore and all that kind of stuff.
And that's why you're asking for people to update their wallets, right, and their nodes.
Yes, there will be a hard fork on the 15th, so if people aren't updated by then, they will fork off on their own blockchain.
Well, it's gonna be interesting.
I think there's only like 30 people left on it, so it'll be quick.
I'm one of them. I haven't updated my node.
It's okay. It's a couple clicks.
I know. I just have to do it.
It'll be done.
I saw your message in the Discord yesterday. I was like, oh, I forgot to do that.
Yeah, it was like I think 35 people when I tweeted that.
Yeah. No, I'm one of those, man. I just haven't like had time to sit down and do that. I'm honest about it, dude. Anyways, talk about the mechanism to get things approved, dude. I know it's a basic question. A lot of people might know it. Some people might not know it. Again, this interview is not too much into detail or in depth on DVT. I try to keep it as light as I can so that new people coming into they can understand it a little bit more. People that are there's plenty of interviews out there with you that have way more in depth stuff and more technical stuff.
I could talk a lot. We know that.
Yeah, but I wanted to go more on the basics. Right, it's more like I get to know you, right? People get to see your personality, which is good, and more if I get to know you, get to know the project on a basic way, without going too much into detail, because we can get into detail as to how things get approved, but just for like a quick overview as to like how things get approved, how things get proposed, like talk to people about the flow to get things from an idea to an approval state to a voting state, right? That's basically
So basically, DeVault is a governance-based token. I keep saying token because I've been looking at DeFi too much, but coin. Yeah. We're a coin. We're not a token. A token is on top of somebody else's blockchain, and a coin is its own blockchain.
Yeah, your own blockchain.
We are our own blockchain, which means that the DeVault coins that you own are worth like a value of money, but they're also worth a voice, which means that every single coin you have is worth a single vote to be cast on any proposal at any time, yes or no. Based on those votes, we can adjust the things that the community is doing as a whole. So let's say we need to, Spock, he wanted to add BLS signatures. Well, he started working on it first. He brought it to the team's attention that he was working on it. He then one of the lead developers of DeVault submitted a proposal to the community to approve a code-based addition for him. That's kind of the thing we work at, right? So the way it works is you go to a website, DeVault.online. It's completely centralized, database-oriented, non-blockchain tech concept. It's just like a social network for DeVault voting, and it doesn't log any sort of weird information about you. We made sure that there's no privacy craziness over there, but basically it lets you log in, it lets you see the proposals, lets you make an account, make a profile, add some pictures, you have a wall like Facebook and all that stuff, and then you can discuss with people, you can network with people, and next thing you know, you can submit a proposal, and that proposal is going to let you do whatever you want. All you have to say is, what is it? What do I need? Do I need money? What's the goal? Do you guys approve of this? If it's a monetary thing, it's pretty straightforward. You get paid, you do the thing. If it's a code-based update, that might require a couple months of talking, this, that, the other, and then maybe we do another proposal. If you rushed it, right? If you just were like, hey, let's fire Decentralizd today. He made me mad. Like, that probably wouldn't happen right away. First off, you need a 2-week vote to be approved, and then then we'd have to talk. Like, we're gonna do what the people want, but it has to be realistic. Like, if it's something realistic, it's not going to get voted in, obviously. But if, let's just say, someone hacked our blockchain, printed 300 million coins, voted on a proposal, like, we're not going to honor a hacked proposal, obviously. As a community, we would know better than that. We could submit a new proposal that says, hey, that was a hack. Obviously, just want to make this cleared up. Everyone vote on this real quick, right? But that's how we gauge what's going on in the system, what people want, what the opinions are of the air are, like what the air feels like, as opposed to Bitcoin or other coins where you have hash power and who's got the multi-million-dollar setup, or who gets free electricity, or do you live in China, or whatever else, right? Gives you that authority over the Bitcoin culture, over the Bitcoin ecosystem and the code base. And people will tell you Bitcoin's decentralized, and I agree, it is decentralized, but there's still a guy that writes GitHub that controls everything with nobody. Like, if he wants to change whatever he wants, he can change. He'll get bitched at, but he can still do it, right?
Good. Bitcoin is decentralized to a certain extent. Sorry for interrupting you, dude. I just want to say this point because it really ticks me. Bitcoin is decentralized so long as no one controls 51% or 50+%, 50 plus 0.01%, right? It doesn't have to be 51%. 50 0.01 is enough to like make it centralized, deny transactions, do whatever they want. And China controls a lot of the Bitcoin mining out there. So,
Sadly.
It is decentralized to a certain exchange because they haven't all come to an agreement to like basically start blocking it. But if you control over 50% of Bitcoin and you want to block it and just basically shut it down, I mean, you wouldn't be able to shut it down. The other ones would be operating. They will become the majority. But, you can start really throwing wrenches onto the mechanism. Sorry for interrupting you with that. I just wanted to
all
say
of the exchanges are gladly accepting KYC being forced down their throats.
Yeah.
What do you think they're going to do next?
Yeah.
You think they're just going to be like, no, Mr. Government, we don't want to listen to you this time? That's not what they're going to do. No. They're going to bow down. They're going to ask how the boot tastes, and they're going to enjoy it. That's just the way that exchanges are going to work, So I think that goes to show, like, Bitcoin is great, but hash power as a system to control things is kind of messy.
Yeah.
If I'm being nice, it's kind of messy, right? If I'm being mean, it's the stupidest way to control voting, right? You go to stocks, you go to all this other stuff. You get one share, you get one vote. That's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah.
So logically speaking, the next evolution of a share of a stock is you give someone a voice with that cryptocurrency that they own. Proof of ownership equals proof of voice.
That's good, man. That's
simple.
Awesome.
You don't need anything else.
I like how you wrapped it up
the
there.
way that the online system works, though, it's decentralized again. It's a centralized database. It's actually not built. Eventually, we will build it into the blockchain. We'll store the votes on the blockchain. We might even start up some sort of, incentivized node system similar to master nodes without the voting aspect to help people be incentivized to store those voting records for long periods of time. Maybe like some sort of, 10% of the block reward shared upon that pool of people or something like that. But essentially that would distribute the voting mechanism a lot more than it is now. Right now it's kind of an AWS.
Yeah.
Everyone says like, oh, crypto's only on AWS. Like, yeah, it's one of those projects that's just on AWS because the amount of money it would take to distribute that thing across the blockchain right now is kind of crazy. Yeah. So until we get time and money to kind of build out DeVault.online into an actual distributed and decentralized technology, it's basically just a Facebook with voting powers. But yeah, it's a 2-week vote period. It's 1 coin, 1 vote, and then you cannot move your coins during that period. Otherwise, your vote gets canceled basically because obviously you don't have the coins anymore. After that period of 2 weeks, basically there's a funding mechanism. We have multi-sig addresses that we control so that it's safe from hackers and stupid stuff like that. So there's no automatic dumping from a hack. It's basically like we have to approve it as a group, the transactions, but we're adding people all the time, so it's more distributed, more decentralized. But I think that's the safest way to manage a fund like that because it can become a very large target for people that have maybe not the best intentions,
Yeah. So the proposals, and what I've seen, they're mainly in English. Is there going to be any way to translate them to other languages? Because like I said, you have a huge Spanish community. Maybe not all of them speak English, or some of them might speak broken English. But, if you're going to go into other languages and to make it more accessible to people and for everyone to be able to vote on the same project with the same understanding of what it means, right? Not like a Google Translate version of what it means. Is there going to be any way to the projects or that the proposals are going to be placed in different languages for people to be able to analyze and make an informed decision?
100%.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So I think that would be the simple answer is yes. A little bit of an explanation for why it's not like that right now is because you need the people. We have some great community members in the Spanish community, and yourself, we got Alcan, we got Pest. They've done a great job creating a mini community within our community, right? And I love it. And I think we need go-getters like that from all different languages and all different walks of life to help us build an ecosystem that is both encompassing of everybody's expectations and is being built to help everybody. And if we have a bunch of Americans or a bunch of only Spanish people, like it's gonna get tilted one way or the other, right? So I think the name of the game is we got to find those initial, like for example, we used to talk about how do we get into the Chinese community, how do we get into this, that, or you always have to have that first person to start doing the work. Like you got to have that spearhead. You got to have that drive and that passion for crypto to start that part of the community. So far we haven't had the best of luck with finding people of other languages that come through with the work ethic and the credibility to help us. But we have had some, like Vietnamese community is a little smaller, but it's been started. But again, those guys wanted me to pay them up front to start, and I'm like, I'm not paying you guys to start a Telegram channel, dude. Like you're crazy, So that's always the thing we run into. But yeah, obviously long term, the goal would be to distribute that even further across the languages. Maybe like a Google Translate plugin would be helpful there to kind of automatically translate things for people. We can probably even buy, I know there's a licensed software I could use that will kind of help me manage the website in a way that lets me manage all languages pretty easily. But for the most part, I manage the website right now, so I'm doing my best to keep that management work kind of low. That was one of the reasons we only have an English and a Spanish website. And I think long term, that reminds me I need to go update the wallet page on this Spanish
Yeah,
website.
that's a good
But
idea.
anyways, that's just a bunch of work,
Yeah.
So we don't want to create busy work for ourselves. We want to be able to
Smart
have
work,
that
right?
time to work forward and progress, and not just get stuck in the mud like a lot of these projects do.
One question that I have, because right now, and talking from a point of view where I have voted on a project a while back, or sorry, on a proposal, from a user experience, it's too many steps to do something, right? You have to go on DeVault Online to begin with, then you have to go find the proposal, then you have to log in, then you got to sign, then you got to go open the core wallet, get the counter signature. It's a little bit, let's say it's a cumbersome process where could that become streamlined to where you maybe just are able to vote from your wallet, right? That would
It
be
already
so
is,
cool.
and actually, when we built DeVault Online, the way that he initially built it was that you could log in, you could link it to your wallet, and it would automatically track all your addresses and let you vote with all of that at once. And I killed that. I was like, no, we're not building it that way because everyone's gonna freak out about privacy. They're gonna say, what the hell? You're doxing all my addresses on a server? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So we decided to disconnect that part of it and take that piece of code out, redesign it so that it doesn't track any of that stuff. It just tracks the address and the amount. It doesn't actually connect it to any of who owns what money, and it doesn't add up all your addresses in one. It doesn't do anything like that. So that's great for us, but you're right. It made it confusing. It made it hard. And I think Pest is already working on, and it already is workable.
Yeah.
A system where you can download a little quick program, you can double click, you can add all your addresses to that program, and you can vote really easily through DeVault.online through a couple clicks.
Yeah, that's gonna be good.
And then we can also build that into the wallets later on. So part of the reason that that's not done yet is because BLS is a much larger priority right now. And if we do anything to these wallets ahead of time, BLS is probably going to make us go back and redo a lot of that work. So as soon as BLS gets implemented into wallets and Bitcore and all that stuff we forked, we have to go back now and say, okay, how do we make these things easier to use? A, privacy, and B, voting. And I think that'll be like phase 2 of progression in terms of wallets and governance.
That's cool, man. Also, I noticed you mentioned something earlier on. They said when you vote, your money has to stay in there for 2 weeks, locked into your wallet. If you need to transact or get money out, then your vote gets canceled. Let's say it comes down. Is there any way to enable it? Because once you vote on a proposal, maybe you needed to use funds, right? Not 100% of what you have in that wallet, but you need to use some. You already had, put it in the exchange, transacted because you maybe needed cash or getting cash.
Sure.
And when you left, that vote got removed. Is there any way to where what has been left of your money just stays there on the vote? Right, because
because I can just, that's a no, but I mean, like, the simple fix for that is just revote real quick if you spent your money, or hold a voting address and fill that with coins. It's like your savings account or something, and then fill that with votable coins, and then have a balance that you maybe vote with, maybe you don't, but it's your spending balance if you want to transact for trading or anything like that.
Great advice.
Also, there's not always a proposal up, so your coins aren't always tied up in a vote. It's just like if something important is happening and you want to have a say in that, you don't even have to vote if you don't want to. It's not required. Like I don't necessarily believe in. I was gonna say but I don't necessarily believe in voter apathy. I think that if you're gonna vote, you're gonna vote. Just like the elections. Like if you don't participate, whatever. That's
you're
fine.
just leaving the decision to everyone else.
Participated. Exactly. So I think that's fair. That's fine. But yeah, if we make it simpler, it'll be better, obviously, and it'll get easier for everybody. But at the end of the day, it's like it kind of is what it is right now. It is crypto. Crypto's not super easy. It's not really easy to make crypto easier because of the way that the system is built. But we'll do our best. Obviously, we'll every time there's a pain point, we'll do our best to address that pain point as ethical as possible in a logical manner that doesn't undermine everything we're building.
Right. So, why should people get into the vault? Right now, I have 3 questions, or 3 more questions. Then we can just open up the questions for people here. Jake said voting on blockchain in the future. We're going to address that in a second. I just have 3 questions to finish up the main part of the interview. After that, open for people to basically pose their questions. If you have any questions, please put at instead of crypto, and then they'll show up highlighted, and I'll be able to track them real quick on the chat. And but let's start wrapping up. We've been live for about an hour and plus minutes, right? I mean, so I don't want to be taking up your time. It's gone flying by, really, but I just noticed the time, and I was like, oh, wow, we've been live for a long time.
It goes quick, right?
Yeah, it goes quick, man. Why should people get into the vault? Right.
Telegram freaked out again, and we have been live a while.
I know, dude.
Stable, 1 more hour. Okay,
yeah.
Good to go. So why should people get involved in DeVault? I think for me is one answer. For everybody else, it's a different answer. But my answer is, like I said a couple times throughout the stream, it's very, as far as cryptos can be concerned, it's relatively safe, in terms of investing money somewhere. That's not investment advice. You don't need to invest into DeVault.
Yeah.
I don't care if you invest into DeVault, but like if you're interested in cryptocurrencies and you might be looking at DeVault, the reasons that you might be interested in that is A, it's not gonna pop, and just dump on you. It's just, there's nothing to pop. There's like a tiny market cap. B, the upside is way greater than the downside in terms of like market books, and like 95+% of coins are in a cold reward. So like they're not even on exchanges. So like there's like not everyone's holding. There's not a lot of trading going on, so you don't have to worry about pump and dumps, bots, and all that stupid stuff. It's very organic. A, organic is very important. B, the community is what makes DeVault, not the VC fund or the people that are like already rich that are incentivized to keep their money safe, like in their pockets. We're doing this for ourselves. Like I want a project I'm happy to use as a person, not as someone who works for the project. As a person, I want to have something that I know, hey, I can trust that for a couple years at least. Like a Bitcoin. Like how secure is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is 10 years secure. That's the answer. It's a really weird answer, but that's what DeVault is too. DeVault is barely 2 years secure. Give us a couple more months, we'll be at 2 years soon. So I think that comes down to it. You saw coins like Digibyte. They were very community oriented early on. They had a lot of everyone ignored them. It's just another community project and another community. But now look at them. They're listed on Binance. They're listed on for free, by the way, on Coinbase. All this kind of stuff. That is a good way to do a project. Build it long term. Grind it out the hard way. That's another reason for DeVault, because we're not doing any DeFi next weekend. We're going to be somewhere else doing something else type projects. We're doing something that we are ready to stick with for years. I think the one of the most important reasons is just because like you are worth what you're worth in DeVault. Whether you got the money, whether you're bringing some talent, whether you just are a very intelligent individual with a lot of insight, all of that is respected. It's not just like, oh, you don't have right access, go away. Oh, you don't have a toxic emoji in your Twitter account, you're blocked. Oh, you're on the block list that we're circulating because we're a bunch of idiots. Everyone block that person. Like this kind of stuff. We don't do that. We don't censor people in DeVault. We're not playing this like narrative game like everyone else is playing. We're just trying to build an honest project that we're proud of at the end of the day, that we're happy to tell our family about, and not worry about what's going to happen at Thanksgiving, right? So I think that is just, without going too far into the technicals, like that's what is important to me.
Right. So you mentioned earlier like you weren't into Bitcoin at the beginning. What is your equivalent to Bitcoin pizza?
Do I have to tell you that? Can I
yeah, you can pass on that, dude. I just thought it was gonna be funny.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I want to tell you that. That might be embarrassing and dangerous.
Yeah, no, it's going. No worries. I just thought you might have bought something with Bitcoin earlier on that you regret. That's probably worth a lot more now. But it's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to talk about it.
Okay, I'm gonna show you guys my pajamas, but let me show you a bong I bought for $4,000 like an idiot.
The equivalent of $4,000.
Yeah. No, I spent Bitcoin on this thing when I was like a while back, and it's like really nice, and I would totally sell it these days because I don't use it. But like, I'm from Seattle, so like obviously we're okay with cannabis. Kid, bro. Thank you. Yeah, we're okay with cannabis, right? Yeah. So like one of the things I paid for is this. Right. I paid $4,000 at like $18,000 Bitcoin per price, right? Yeah. And it's essentially a handmade like art piece, right? Yeah. So it's a flower.
We'll call it a flower pot.
No, look at it, dude. It's like Mario.
That's pretty cool, bro. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
So like it's tiny, but like it's signed. Yeah. It's like it's really nice, right? So like stupid stuff like that. But for the most part, I just spent some money on vacation here and there, and like I'm pretty frugal with my crypto because I have a job. Yeah. I'm not like everyone in crypto who's like over here risking their entire life to make it rich on the next DeFi scam. I have a job. I have a career. Yeah. Like I can survive without crypto just fine. Yeah. Just that I like crypto. Yeah. So that let's say that was your equivalent to the Bitcoin pizza. That's cool, man. What you say you work for websites, or you did websites? Are you still doing that? I guess. Yeah. So I've been a web designer since I was about 12, but like I started selling websites at 15. Like back in the day, it was just a fun project to do for the weekends, a couple $100 here and there. And that's kind of what got me into crypto. I think at the end of the day, it was just being on the internet all the time and watching blogs and knowing other nerds on the internet. That helps a lot. And then I've also I worked in the weed industry for like 10 years in Seattle, because obviously if you're a web designer 10 years ago when the weed is starting to become big and you knew it was going to be the next $1 billion industry, you're pretty stupid not to jump in, right? So what I did is I tried to corner the market in terms of like websites in Washington, and I would go to the stores, I would meet with the owners, and I would tell them, hey, I know business, I know cannabis, and I know websites. So let me help you out. I'll build you a digital marketing footprint. I'll build you a good SEO presence and stuff like that. And I've helped build some of the most successful stores in this state, but I don't like to talk about that too much on the internet because it's just not as fun as crypto. You know? Like it's just a day job.
It's your alter personality, right? It's your day to day.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if you were still on website, right?
My bread and butter.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's awesome. Anyways, I'm just gonna kill this.
Actually, mostly I just manage people these days. I feel like a babysitter all the time, but it's cool.
I'm just gonna kill the part of the interview with this question though.
Sure.
I'm not sure if it's gonna be easy to address, but at least it's gonna be from your point of view. Why do you believe this hidden gem is still failing to take off right now, or not taking off as strong as other projects? The project's been live for a year and 3 months right now, or 4 months almost.
Yep.
Why is it that you believe that it hasn't gotten the attention it deserves? Because it's a solid project. Again, don't get me wrong, I like it. That's why I'm invested in it. That's why a lot of people have invested in it. I'm not in it for a quick buck. I'm in it because I believe it's doing something legit in crypto, which is honest and ethical, and not just a quick pump and dump, and not what everyone else is doing, or not what everyone else is trying to get to crypto to do, which is a get-rich-quick scheme. I do believe this project is going to have an impact. My question is, why, on your thoughts on why it's not taking off as fast as other projects, let's say?
That's a completely fair question, and I've had to think about this a lot, over the year. It's been a while, and in 2017 and prior to that, you had all this hype almost thinly in the air all the time, right? Like anything could set it off, like almost like a room was full of kerosene, right? One exchange gets hacked, the price dumps, and then Coinbase might do this listing, price pumps to 8,000% or whatever. I think that was a phase in crypto, and I think when we launched DeVault, it was at the end of that phase, right? So all projects that were associated with that technology set, like the Bitcoin, vanilla Bitcoin type stuff, is, in my opinion, underrated these days. All the projects that don't have really crappy tokenomics, I don't want to go into this necessarily since it's been so long, but masternodes I don't feel like are necessarily vanilla Bitcoin, but projects that do their best to understand why Bitcoin makes certain decisions and maybe try to make improved decisions for realistic reasons, that is one thing that is overlooked in this space. And another thing that's overlooked in this space is market caps, right? So people think, oh, I have to go to Coin. This is what every single normal person thinks. What is crypto? Oh, crypto is things listed on CoinMarketCap. That's their definition of crypto. So for me, it's what's your standard in crypto? If you're one of those people that thinks the next big hype is going to make you rich next weekend, and you're kind of blind to the point of crypto, the overall essence of the creation of crypto, you might not understand DeVault, right? But if you've been in crypto long enough to understand what we're trying to do, some of the things you just explained, you start seeing why each one of those things is valuable the longer you're here. So one of the reasons that we're undervalued is because we're this might sound egotistical, but we're too far ahead in terms of our design and our vision, because everyone is still stuck in the gambling phase. We're bored of the gambling phase. We're in investment phase now. We're in building long-term value phase. And I think most of the people that end up on CoinMarketCap.com are dictated by what those top 10 coins are. And I've heard this so many times. Well, which of the top 10 would I buy? They're the blue chip cryptos. They are whatever. Which is
the farthest thing from the truth, because the ones that are going to pop the stronger, or the ones that have popped the stronger lately, are the small market cap coins, right? You look at what's been pumping, what's been moving, what's been going parabolic besides the DeFi, and it's small projects, right? The small cap projects, because big cap projects already look. To take a project like DeVault, to go from 6 sats to 7 sats is not a huge amount of money, right? Probably with $100 or $200, you can make it pump to that 7 sat value. But to make Bitcoin move, you really have to have millions of dollars, right? To move 1%. And with this, you're talking about moving DVT from 6 to 7. It's about a 15% increase, like that, with very little money, right? So again, it's easy to move. And I've told people on the stream, dude, it's DVT for me is not only a great project to invest in, because you can get quicker returns than by investing in other projects, because a pump from 5 to 6, it's a 20% gain. Right?
It's great for smart traders. It's really bad for stupid traders.
And the small dumps that it has are not that big even. And then it has the pumps, and it does have daily liquidity, where you can see that on a daily chart that it's moving, and you can make some money by buying and selling smartly. And you don't have to put a lot of money to learn how to trade. If you don't know how to trade and you want to learn, so you're getting some experience, like a project like DVT is great for doing that, because with $100 you can get a good sized position.
Yeah, and there's no backdoor deals.
Yeah.
That's like huge for us. Like we don't like the number one thing I've got burnt out on, and I'll tell you guys the complete truth on this is backdoor deals in projects I've been a part of, and I'm sitting there in team chat like these guys can't be serious right now. Like here's the time when I have to quit because I'm not going to be part of this. So like in Smart Cash, we had this one coin, one vote runs the coin, right?
Yeah.
Like next thing you know, one of the other founders, I'm not going to name him because he's just an asshole, but he decided upon himself, hey, we're just not going to do one coin, one vote anymore. It's only for one coin, one vote only matters for funding now. So all your opinions are useless. We run the project. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like that kind of stuff. It drives you to get sick of these kind of projects, man. You just want to have something that does what they say and they say what they do. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point of crypto, I think, is you got to find those gems. A gem is somebody a gem is a project who's honest, who's not overbought, who's not, you know what I mean? All those type of things.
Like,
and I think the proof of that is that, like, it's not overbought because look at the market cap, dude. Like it's like numbered 1,200, yet on a Lunar Crush, which is a social engagements website, we're like number 120. So you're telling me that a 1,200 ranked project is top 120 coins in terms of activity, and that makes sense? Like, I'm sorry, and then you have coins worth $100-200 million with way less activity than us, and I'm just like, dude, you guys need to open your eyes.
It becomes a point where, like, CoinMarketCap, it's good to a certain extent, but it values all coins the same way, right? So if you and I transacted, let's say, in a private exchange that we made, and it's
actually, that's wrong. Before you get into that, they do not value coins the same way. There's a different algorithm for everybody.
No. But the coin value, how they get to market cap, is they value all the coins the same way. Sorry if I didn't explain that part. But if you and I get to an agreement, let's say, and you and I sit down and I said, dude, I'm gonna buy one DVT for you for $1,000, right? And you send it to me, and we can record that on CoinMarketCap. Then the whole project is worth millions because all coins that are minted or that will be minted for DVT are going to be valued at $1,000 when the exchange rate on other exchanges are saying different, right? So that's.
Have you seen that first chart of ours, like way back at the beginning?
I can't remember.
Why we're so we started at 1,000 satoshis, right?
I remember that.
That is, my friend did that. My friend thought he was funny. He was literally on Discord with me, and he's like, I'm gonna buy it at 1,000 satoshis on the first block.
Yeah.
So what happens to our chart? We didn't think about this right in the moment.
Went down.
What happens to our chart over time if people aren't going to do that? So that's why we have a negative 99%.
Yeah.
Or it's like 96 now. But because the first day someone decided, I'll pay this much money for this thing.
Yeah.
For jokes, right? Now the price on CoinMarketCap looks like we've dumped 99%. When in reality, everyone who's been holding is up like 6 months at least 150%.
Look, I'll tell you what. I got in on end of May. Yeah, I got in at the end of May, around 5 sats, and right now sitting at 6 sats. I'm already 20% up, right? And when he went up to 12 sats, I was already like over 100% up, right? So it's a small gem, and that's why I consider it a small gem, because with very little money you can get a good position. You're not risking too much, right? You can buy $100 worth of this, which is not bad, and you can get a good sized chunk of DVT to trade, to hold, to put onto your wallet and see how Cold Wars work, right? To gamble with the bot on the Discord. Anyways, Jake was saying people are blinded and not do their own research. Yeah, dude, I agree. People don't do their own research. They just want to be told where to go, right?
My friend actually told me that last night. He goes, I've been doing my own research. I go, what research are you doing? Looking at the pamphlet on the website? He goes, yeah. Like, that's not research, dude.
Exactly.
Like,
Pess was saying back, had breakfast, the whole thing now. Okay, I'll heal. Okay, awesome. Come to DeVault, great community, fun, endless possibilities, room for participation. Yes, I agree with all the things Pess is saying. Jake posted a question saying, voting on blockchain in future?
Yes.
All right.
That is on Proteus's list. He is very excited about doing that, but like I said, we got to wait for BLS to kind of get more towards a finished state, because that requires far too much work to be doing other things before it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's anyone that has questions. Please let me know in the chat. I'm still watching for questions. We'll just keep on shooting the shit for a little bit while questions come through. But anything else you want to tell people about DVT, or like I think we covered plenty of things. I think it's a fun interview so far. I'm not sure how the interviews have gone, but I like this interview so far. I didn't know. It's my first time interviewing someone.
I always have a good time.
It's my
it's always. Let me tell you, the first time I got on camera and I did an interview, we paid like $5,000 for our company to interview me for like a cannabis thing. Right? And I'm sweating. I was sweating, man. I was just like, trying to look normal, trying not to let the sweat drip down my face. Nowadays, it's fun. I don't mind anymore. You know, I just kind of hang out, and it's like I'm on Zoom with you, basically.
Yeah, it is, right? And then I had the same thing. Like, I see my first streams, and I was so nervous. No, I was nervous because it was the first time interviewing someone, and I never interviewed someone in any level. Like, I guess it's just, for me, it's just like having a conversation. I want it to feel like we're having a back and forth conversation. I do have some questions.
It's just hard to keep it structured, you know?
Yeah, because you start talking about stuff, and I'm not sure. Like, I see interviews, and they have a certain format, and they're pretty straightforward. People just focusing on answering that question, and then you move on to the next one.
I'm the worst, because I'm a tangent guy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'll just... what was I talking about?
What was the question again? And for me, it's the same. I rather talk and have a good time. I mean, we did get through the list of questions that I had, which was pretty basic stuff. But what I wanted to get people to see is that, that you're a cool person, you're a chill person, that you know about the project, and to give you room to explain what DVT is about, so they can have it, and from a person, and not wanting to have a structure as an interview where, like, oh, A, B, C, D, oh, E, F, G, just have it like
we are a blockchain, and we will give you a return on investment. Please buy our blockchain. Thank you.
I didn't want it to be like that, right? So I want it to be more like a regular conversation that you can have with your buddy, that you're explaining something, and just basically that flow of a normal conversation while still getting back to the questions that we had at some point in time. But just basically that was the flow that I wanted to get through this.
No, I've been having fun, man.
Yeah, dude, we've been live for 2 hours, and it just feels like time went by like nothing, dude. So we've been live for an hour and 59 minutes, dude. Now. But let's say that the first 10 minutes, or the first 6 minutes didn't count, because I had like music playing and still sorting out stuff. Yeah, dude. I'm hoping that the thing went through. Bitcoin stopped saying that the stream is shit now. Now it just says excellent condition, which is fun. At the beginning, I was worried I was gonna get drops. Jake, dude.
Yeah, I think I might have one that people are curious about, to be honest. So like the whole wrap DVT thing. Like, what's the point of that? Like, why are we wrapping DVT, right? Like, we already have DeVault, the blockchain. What sense does that make to have another version of the blockchain? So like, I think the goal with that is to unlock, like earlier, like I kind of touched on it. Like, we want to get away from being forced to ask for permission to get liquidity from these exchanges and be charged obscene amounts of money. Even if we offer them the money, half the time they want to do all these crazy things like dox all of our developers and stuff. So basically, the goal with the wrap DVT is to bypass all the exchanges. It'll give us the opportunity to list on any decentralized auto market making, like, Uniswap type project, and then down the road, every single time we want to add more liquidity, or maybe like Solana is getting big right now, that blockchain from FTX. Basically, we can just go wrap on every single Ethereum competitor. So every time Ethereum gets leapfrogged by another Ethereum killer, we can just make another wrap DeVault on that. So that'll always give us access to the next best, greatest liquidity. So it could very well be, and I don't know if CoinMarketCap counts the Uniswap and whatever, I have to check on that. But either way, like that just gives us more liquidity and real liquidity compared to a centralized exchange. Even though a lot of bots still exist on the AMMs, it'll give us a lot more opportunity to access that traders ecosystem that we've lacked for so long. Because earlier you asked me kind of what are one of the main holding things that hold back DeVault. It's traders. We don't have a lot of them. B, we don't incentivize a lot of like shady, pumpy stuff. So that's holding us back in terms of what's successful standard wise in crypto. And then also like just the fact that we're a mining coin, like we're a proof of work blockchain. It costs us a couple $100 a day just to print the coins. And, like, the miners get paid for that. So maybe in the future we go proof of stake, something like that. I'm not gonna make those choices for everybody. They need to make those choices.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the proposals, right?
I think once we start making those incremental updates, like you're gonna see a lot less of the days of $200,000 market cap. You're gonna see a lot less of the we only have $200 of volume a day. I don't know where to dump my $400 in coins because I gotta pay for a boat ticket. Like that won't happen anymore. So once that happens, that unlocks so many new things. E-commerce, just getting into actual retail stores, just actual trading, like actual like gifting of the coins of actual value. All that kind of stuff. You can start building businesses around this at that point. And I think that's what's been holding us back a lot and it's kind of my fault because I was always the guy in the team that's been like, let's not use centralized USDT. Let's not try to pay this exchange because like I'm trying to look out for what's going to happen after that. I'm not trying to look out for that quick pump this weekend to make the 3 guys in Discord happy. I don't give a about those guys in Discord complaining. They can complain all they want. I'm doing what's good for you. Thank me later. And I think that's the main thing that people ask about.
That's good, bro. I like the ethics that the project has right now. Yes, well, some of the decisions I said, look, you're stalling the project from growing and going to the moon right now. Yes, but going to the moon quickly it's not the best thing. That comes with a quick crash. This is not a get quick scheme. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is a project.
Must come down.
Yeah, this is a solid project with solid ethics that will get there in time. It's a long-term race. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? Crypto's not a sprint. People want to see it as a sprint. They're just gonna get rich quick. The coin's gonna be worth nothing next day, and then they just want to get out quickly, right? DVT is more like like an endurance, a Kenyan endurance runner, dude, or like Somalian endurance runner, dude. It's gonna be long term.
Usain Bolt.
He's Jamaican.
Speed runner, huh?
Yeah, he's Jamaican. He does like the speed runner. Yeah, but like we're talking about like the what's his name? I forgot the name, but he runs like long term endurance, right? Like this is gonna be like what was it, Burning Man or Fire? Like that crazy
like
arch ways, right? Anyways. Jake saying he gets DVT now in marketing and decentralization. That's awesome, bro. That's part of the point.
And he voted himself into the team.
I know.
Like he put a proposal up to get himself hired. You know what I mean? That's how cool DeVault can be. Like if you want to participate, it's up to you. Like we're not gonna come and poach you from your team. We're not gonna beg you to help us. No. We're just gonna keep grinding away, and it will pay off long term for us. That's all we're worried about. We don't care about what everybody else is doing this weekend, because we already got a good grasp on ecosystem, and we're going to keep paying attention, but we're not going to chase every single hype cycle. We're not going to chase every flavor that comes through every 3 months, because that's how crypto is. It's a flavor system. Every 3 months there's something popular, and everyone buys that popular thing, and then everyone gets burnt out on that popular thing, and then they go to the next thing, and then they go to the next thing, and it's like what casino game do you want to play today? Like we're not trying to build another casino game.
I agree.
We want to be the thing you cash out from the casino games and go to.
Yeah. By the way, quick thing, Jake, Bitcoin Jake from the community, made this little thing down here in the bottom. So if you're a streamer and you want to have this little thing pop up on your screens when you're streaming, it is a way where you can get your coin tree to show up and people can tip you and you get the messages go through there. So thank you, Jake, for that awesome tool that you made with JavaScript. Jake is a really cool guy in DeVault community. He's also very active. And he's also helps a lot of people in crypto in general, and he does it like free, right? Free will. So it's so cool of him. I always tell him he's a real cool guy for doing all these things.
He's an addict.
I know, he's an addict, and he also has his own YouTube channel where he talks about the Reddit, right? The top 10 Reddit. So if you guys want to support Bitcoin Jake somehow, go check out his Bitcoin channel as well. DVT links have gone out plenty of times. If you can help me out by sending out the DVT links also to the Discord, to the the main website for DeVault, that'll be awesome, bro. So that people can join us there later on. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up, Ben? I mean, so far it's been good, right? So.
I mean, if you ask me that, I will keep going for another hour. I'm just going to say no, reluctantly, because I would like to keep talking, but I'm sure you have some stuff.
We can always have another interview later on, dude.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I'm going to do right now is I want to end up the stream. I think there's no more questions that came through. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching again. Thank you for tuning in for this awesome interview. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you were entertained. Don't hang up, dude. I'm going to chill with you for a second after the stream.
I was peacing out to them, yeah.
What I want to do is just, mute you, mute me, put the end screen, and then, play a little bit of music there, I guess. Ken Bozak is in. Ken retweeted. Awesome, Ken. Thank you for being here, man. Much appreciated.
Ken's the homie.
Yeah, dude. I was about to sign off, but thank you, Ken Bozak, for joining us.
By the way, guys, since Ken just came up, we just did, DeVault just helped fund Ken's, I think another blockchain is also helping fund, but we're partially funding Ken's meetup October, I think 13th off the top of my head.
Not sure.
Ken, so if you guys want to learn about DeVault, he'll have a live stream going, and I think it's Philly John Crypto, JAWN.
Yeah.
And if you just look that up, basically, if you're in the Philly area, I'm pretty sure it's a free, entry. There'll be a nice large area to kind of hang out, so you can social distance while learning about crypto. And then, obviously there'll be some food, and Ken will be there to kind of teach everybody, and you guys will get some. I still have to send him these bracelets. I have some DeVault bracelets and business cards I'm going to mail him. So be sure to check that out, and hopefully, if you guys want to go to a cool meetup, then that would be a good one to go to.
All right, Ken just appeared and said, feel like crypto, John, October 11th. So October 11th.
11th. Sorry.
That's great. If you guys want to go hang out there, go check out Ken Bozak. He has his own Twitter. He's on Periscope. You can find him at Ken Bozak, I think, on Twitter. He's a cool guy. He does not another crypto podcast, or not another Bitcoin podcast, or something like that. I can't remember.
That's what it's
called. Not another Bitcoin podcast. Ken, thank you for being here, man. Thank you for joining us briefly on the chat. So nice to have you here, man. We got to do something. We got to get together, you and I, and we got to do something also. Dude, I was signing off, but thank you for being here. Thank you for letting us know about the Philly Crypto John on October 11th. People go check it out for reals. DVT, thank you for sponsoring that and growing also there. Jake saying something. F11. Right. Thank you, man. Guys, go check out Ken. Check out this channel. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Thank you for being here. This is going to be all for tonight, guys. Or for today. Not tonight yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to be tonight for the technicals. I think I'm not going to go out of town because my wife was not feeling too good this morning. But we will have technicals probably tonight if I don't go out of town. Join me at 10 p.m. Central. And I'll catch you guys later on, maybe, if not tomorrow, for another edition of State of Crypto. Until then.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks for being here.